trustee meeting in English? Or just announce it's gonna happen right after we adjourn?
Here's, you're good.
Then I'll do that.
What's that?
I'll do this separately.
Okay, perfect.
You'll be gone.
I will. And you'll do a fine job.
Oh, or at least I'll just be sassy.
Okay, I guess we're gonna see what
You can do it too. She'll be watching this.
Yeah.
You just spoke for a day like you.
host a board meeting. CGRA has worked very hard on this rodeo. If you need the bathrooms, they're just right outside down the hall. And ladies, there's a cooler over there with Diet Cokes, waters, etc. Help yourself. Lunch will be at noon. We'll have the back table, so we got CGI got Chipotle for everybody. So we're taking that, and a great rodeo weekend, and good luck to everyone. And I think our president has a few words.
Yeah, and we're on Zoom, so I probably should speak up. Wow, we're living through some pretty crazy, unprecedented times. I'm sure I don't even have to say that. But what an amazing opportunity for Colorado to be able to host this rodeo. We're super excited. One thing I wanted to kind of impart on you is everything that you see, well, not everything. A lot of what you see is the really relinquishing of CGRA from the old guard to the new guard, and when I say old, I mean old, and when I say new, I mean young, and it's paid off really great. As the more wise group here, we put up a lot of bumpers, so you know, the generation that's giving us what you're going to see this weekend needed a lot of guidance, but they own it 100%, which I think is important in passing the torch of this amazing organization. And I'm looking forward to having a great weekend. That's really all I wanted to say. Any questions for me before I go and change clothes and get in my grubs and continue setting this place up?
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, sure.
I would like us, as a small group here, and I know we ordered lunch for more than what's here in the room. I would like, hopefully we can pass the hat and at least make some sort of donation back to CGRA for them providing lunch for the board of directors. Just a thought.
CGRA will always take any donations, not necessary, but if anybody wants to, you're more than welcome to. I'm sure David won't turn down the money, but it's our gift to the board.
And that look, every penny counts.
It absolutely does.
Okay, let's do, roll call.
Mark is here from IGRA. Is Mike Lentz on the call? Chuck is here. Jack is here. Wes is here. Is David Lawson on the call? No David Lawson, no Michael Lentz, okay. David Hartwell. Okay. Kenneth Hall. Okay. David Hallwood. Pork Chop is here. Brian is here. Sammy is here. Tim Smith on the call.
I must have killed her last night. She left me, but she must have died first.
Well, it's not the first time you've been left.
I never been right.
Well, it's the same here. Okay, so no Tim. Y'all think he'll show up or not? Okay. Kevin Hillman. Oh, okay, you snuck in. I didn't see you.
You had your nose in the computer.
Do what?
I said you had your nose in the computer.
Oh, yeah, okay. So we don't have David Hallwood or Mike Lentz, and everybody else we have accounted for. Quorum is done.
David Lawson.
Oh, no, he's not here yet. Yeah, I've got an X there.
Need a motion to adopt the Robert's Rules of Order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay.
people that have not met the requirement, what's the deadline for them to meet the
The
requirement?
deadline, their money has to be in to David Hill by the 20th of August.
Okay,
David has to have that money.
so at the end of August is when action could be taken,
Yeah.
if needed?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, if they don't hit the rodeos, they have till the end of the rodeo season to hit the rodeos. If they don't hit the rodeos, they don't, they need to step down. So if they don't hit the 4 rodeos, they can't step down. Depending on the circumstances, that's my, obligation to say yes or no, if there's extreme circumstances. If they don't reach the financial goal by the 20th, it's an automatic. Sashes are removed.
Do we have enough rodeos on the schedule for them to meet?
They
the
have plenty
requirement?
of provisos still to go
Okay.
to meet the requirement. Because each of them will hit 2, because I gave them Arizona because they were all there and we did the contest there. So the ones that are here this weekend, everyone will have 2 rodeos, so they have to hit 2 more rodeos after that.
Oh, so it's just, okay, okay. All right.
It's whether or not they'll get that. The motivation for the individuals have not signed.
So, what is the, what do they have to raise by position?
Okay, so the Black Sash has to raise $1,500. The Red Sash has to raise $1,200. And then, the White Sash has to raise $1,000.
And they do need to be fundraisers, they cannot just write a check out, correct?
Yes, and preferably if they're working in a bar, because I have 2 individuals, one now, that works in a bar. And I was told, this was to me, that I'm not worried about it, Michael Lehman will call me out. And I will sell jello shots at the bar.
Yep.
So that doesn't fly with me, and I will have a conversation in that group. They need to be out in the community, raising money, not hiding behind the bar that they work at. That is not promoting the lifestyle. I just feel that it's not.
And if you had conversations leading up to the conversations you're gonna have tonight?
Yeah, there's a couple, I sent stuff out in group text, but the individuals are not responding. That's the issue. There's no response. Everyone else has, but in this group that we have, there's no response. And that's the issue. If you're having problems, I can't help you if I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that have been working and trying to get to rodeos and trying to raise some money, they're in contact, they're letting me know that, hey, I'm having some issues, it's been a little difficult, but I am trying. And they are, they're literally really trying. I just feel that
Okay.
3 that I'm having issues with aren't putting the effort out, and they're waiting until the last one.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we have this problem kind of last
Yep.
year with royalties?
Yes.
So, since it's year after year,
Okay.
meaning a
No
couple of years, 3 years, 2 years, is there something we are not providing to them that we could be doing better as a board, as the leadership? If we're seeing the same problem consecutively,
You know,
that tells me there's something.
Right.
we're
And I
doing
thought
wrong.
about this, and when you have 3/4 of your team doing what they're supposed to be doing, so that means the information got out to them correctly. And you've got the rest of them not communicating, not asking. There's an issue. Either you don't care what you're doing, it was just you wanted the crown or you wanted the sash or the buffalo, whatever. I have one that's bitter that they didn't win, and I'm dealing with that. So I think that they just don't care. I honestly do, and that's not the right attitude I wanna say. And I'll let them plead their case tonight, and I'll let them express their thing.
I guess the only thing I'm trying to think about is, and I'm trying to be positive intent, right? Assume positive intent. They obviously care because they did it initially. Maybe there's some self gratification in getting the crown or the sash, but there's also a lot of prep that went into it. So, I'm just throwing darts, but I'm just trying to figure out how did they go from being exciting and running and spending the time and money to not responding, to not caring? To me, there's a gap there somehow, right? Like with any personnel, with any
Right,
performance.
I agree.
So where is it a support thing? Is it, if we're having the same problem, how are we improving it as opposed to
They
just
have two
discipline?
separate groups. They have one that I'm in, and then they have their own. And it's intentional that they have their own group.
Sure.
Because there's things they wanna talk about, and silly things or whatever. So they have their own group. But they're having the same issue in that group. So it's not, do you know what I'm saying? It's not,
I'm just trying to figure out.
One of the things you do have, one of, ones that their organization's not supporting them also, and you know that.
right.
And like you went and said, that's something that as an organization, they needed to be helping, that person out. And they're not doing that. They're actually going and just ignoring this person. And that's sad. That is really sad.
Well, again, it depends on the person. I mean, people have to take accountability for
Yes.
their own actions.
Right.
Right? So,
You're right.
I mean, there's a support factor, and then there's accountability.
Yes.
So,
They're
You know, and it's not that I wanna gun for this ash or the crown or anything, I just want them to do what is
we all do.
required.
I mean,
You know, they won for a reason,
right.
they wanted it for a reason. What's the reason now? You know, but they need to be aware that there's consequences. This is not, you know, we've had this issue, almost every single team, so
Yeah.
this is unfortunate.
Any other questions for Lucy?
Wes, did you, oh, okay. Alright, Michael?
Alrighty, good morning. It's really nice to see us together in person for our board meeting today. This year is the first year we've been able to have face-to-face meetings, so that's been good. I want to say first that I enjoy what I do for IGRA as an IGRA secretary, as well as certified rodeo official in 3 areas very much. I have learned a lot over the past 2 to 3 years, and I look forward to continuing as a volunteer. I continue to be disheartened at some areas, which is really a risk to our organization. There's a tremendous amount of hard feelings between some folks, even here within our board. After working several years as IGRA secretary, I have the perception that some do not don't respect me and other board members. I sometimes feel like some of us are not valued or appreciated. I can understand us not agreeing on some things, and we can agree to disagree, but I would really like to see us working together more than the fighting amongst ourselves. That just tears the organization down. I'll be the first, I've already, I'll be the first to agree that there have been things that we have done or not done that people felt should have been done differently. I have had a number of comments about, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and one person was blamed for that decision. My response to these board members is that what the board of directors done was done by a vote of the board, not one person. And I've heard repeatedly derogatory remarks about, oh, it's this regime or that regime, it's these people's favorites, and to be honest, those comments are offensive. They're insulting, and I don't believe they are appropriate. But when we have issues, we need to discuss our issues and be able to speak freely amongst each other. And if there's something that I don't like or you don't like, this is where we discuss those and hear people out and work together. A term has come to mind where someone says, we expected leadership from you. And I said, well, leadership is, the board of directors all need to be leaders. You know, I said, if there's something that the officers aren't doing that you think we should, then let's call that out and say, hey, I think you guys should be doing this, you know, lead us into the right direction. And so, I think we've been very harsh and critical more than what's necessary. But we are a corporation, we have a business to run. It's not a popularity thing, or it should not be. So, let me get back to what I had written down. Let's see. So I continue to send out emails with deadlines, requests. Those emails are ignored. As examples, I said, who is, you know, asked for people to, you know, give me tentative dates for your rodeos for next year. We have nominations for our awards that were due by the end of last week. I had one association submit nominations. So then I said, okay, we had a lot of controversy about convention for this year. So I was like, okay, 2 months ago, I said, okay, folks, who wants to host convention in 2023 or 2024? Who wants to be considered for finals in 2023, 2024, so we can be prepared and get ready for next year and the following year? I got crickets. I have 3 responses for rodeos for next year, that's it. And now I have sent everyone the membership form for the association renewal. Those renewals have to be in by Saturday the 17th if you're mailing it electronically, by Sunday the 18th. After the 18th, there's an automatic $200 fine. Now, we also have a mindset every time we find an association, oh, we'll just get that way to the next board meeting. And so we have bylaws that says this is what's supposed to be done, and we have people complaining, oh, you're not following the rules. But then we also have situations where, as an example, last year we finally did appreciation awards, at least, for our associations. Associations submitted names. I looked at the names, I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's a member of your association, and by rule, they cannot receive an appreciation award. You know, I don't like that, but it is what it is. So I had to take their names off the list. Then this week I find out that 3 people from an association, the vendor was contacted and they ordered the appreciation awards for members of their organization. And that was a bit irritating to see that the rule was just, oh, I don't care about the rule, I'll just order the appreciation awards for the folks I want anyway. So when we talk about following the rules, we need to either follow the rules or they might as well be in the trash can. Because we're picking and choosing, people say we're picking and choosing what rules we follow. We need to be consistent in following our rules the best we can. Now, in the past 3 years, we had COVID and we had to do things differently, but this board made a decision to do what we did. It wasn't one person or 2 people. So, does anyone have any question on that?
Why do you keep looking?
Oh, well.
Why do you keep looking? Is this a safe space for you?
That's
Why do you keep looking at me?
Well, but I'll be candid. The guy has responded with very candid, sound, I almost want to say remarks or suggestions like, well, this is what I think and this is why I think that. And I've appreciated the feedback that I get. Sometimes it's, you know, pork chops guys, okay, I gotta slap Michael up the face, you know, and that's fine. And sometimes he opens my eyes to things, and that's.
Now why are you looking at me?
Well, you did the same
It's a
thing.
safe space move. You're next, Sam.
Well, yeah, and so, you know, and but I think, I send out emails and send out notices, then I get phone calls. When's the board meeting? Where's the board meeting? I said, well, it's in the email, 10 o'clock, are we meeting? I thought, yeah, it was in the email, it was in the reminder, and so forth, and I'm like, sometimes I feel like my emails are not read. Yes, Brian?
Just a question for you, on this, renewal application.
Yes.
The one on the website is in 2022, or 2020 rather, is 2022 available?
The 2023 renewal
2022, right.
was included in the email that I sent everyone.
Okay.
So,
Sometimes in the crush of all the
oh, absolutely,
overwhelming emails, you
Yes.
get lost,
yeah,
and then you go to the website to look for
yeah,
the episodes.
He's,
Yeah.
he did a Windows 10 update and lost a bunch of emails, and he had sent him updates,
Okay.
and so they communicating where they're gonna get everything updated.
yeah. So that's why when, I realized Frank was having some issues, so then that's why then I directly attached the form, the updated form to everyone.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
On some of these things like that, a singular item per email is easier, rather than have it be embedded in a list of things that.
Yeah, the renewals was just the renewal
Okay,
form.
then yeah,
Yeah, because that's a great point, and that's an important issue for us, and, you know, saying, okay, if this slips by you, you're gonna get a $200 fine. I don't want anyone to get a fine.
no, I totally appreciate that. I'm trying to get our 2023 done.
Okay,
And the check's been written, I don't know if David's received it yet, but it's been done, you know, it's requested. But I'm struggling trying to find the 2023,
Chuck, you have something too?
Yeah, I just want to say, I completely understand what you're saying, but as a trustee, I have to go to my association, forward all this to them, and at times I don't get a response back. So I have to follow up with them, remind them.
yeah,
So doing the best that we can, but
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
are multiple steps in this process.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, some of us at the liberty that we have to wait for them to have their meetings and get all their stuff.
yeah, absolutely. And that's also why I make a point, there are a number of deadlines for things that we have in our organization. And so I try to work back my way into those dates to give the associations lots of time to get your renewals done or get your nominations in and so forth. I'll try to give you, normally it's gonna give you at least a month or so, so that's why, well, we got convention coming up, we gotta get ready for convention, get the renewal process started. We have, I think, 3 people that have already completed their renewal paperwork, and that's fine. Most of it comes in the month of September, which is fine, just making sure everyone knows that deadline's out there. And I make a point to do everything I could to give you the right form and the time that you need to work with your associations. Absolutely. It is a collaborative partnership that we're doing, working together to make this all happen. And yes, sir.
Which form are we talking about?
The membership renewal. The one online, I think says 2020, it might say 2022, but, the 2023 membership renewal form is one of those updates that I'll put on the USB stick. Yeah.
You sent me a bunch of things about a month ago.
Yes,
One of them, the attached document was completely blank. I replied, but I never got a response from you. The other one that I had a problem with is you said it was such and such a form. We already have a form which is a totally different subject by that number. I responded to that and I never got a response back.
wow. Okay, I haven't seen any emails from you, but we'll follow up on that. We'll get that
That's
taken
what
care
I'm
of.
talking about.
Brian?
Is it possible to either resend the 2023 renewal?
Absolutely, yes, glad to.
Just that one document,
Just one
one
document.
email?
Just
Yeah.
one document?
Sure,
Okay,
I'll do that today.
great.
Another suggestion is have the form out there, but leave the year blank so people can fill it in. I mean, you don't have to update it every year. You know,
That's true.
Just keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And, you know, Michael, a lot of us are dealing with email issues, not necessarily with you. It's out there. You know, it goes back to January when Judy sent the membership form in.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, for 2 months you came after me saying you didn't get it, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
I even sent the email.
yeah,
You know, so, it does feel a little bit at times you come after us and kind of make a
perception that we're not doing this. So it's like, and I understand what you're saying, but it needs to work in all directions, guys.
Totally agree.
Everybody's volunteers, everybody's doing the best they can, everybody's at different levels of professional skills.
Mhm.
So we just kinda have to find a
Yeah,
way to do that.
finally, yeah, I hear you, I'm all for it. If you get an email and you say, hey, I'm working on this, if I'm not responding, or, we can pick the phone and say, hey, Michael, we got this taken care of, we'll be in touch, when we have this ready, that's fine. But, so when I didn't see emails, I'll share with y'all, Ron Trustley as an example. Most of the time, he sends me an email, I don't get it. I send him an email, he doesn't get it. So then I went over and created a Gmail account to test. And Ron and I can email fine in Gmail, but my personal email, for whatever reason, I don't get his emails and he doesn't get mine. So there are some challenges out there. I need to move on. Talked about that. And the website, we're going to get those forms updated this weekend. Talked about the renewals. I'll just close in one thing that I totally support. I have complained many times about many things. Normally when I come to the table with a complaint, I'm gonna say, here's a way we can fix this. So lately we seem to complain a lot, but we don't come to the table with here's an idea how to fix something. And so if you're going to complain, I will hear you out without question. I would hope that you would come with a suggested solution, and we might end up working together to make that suggestion even better than what we originally thought of, and make continual improvement. So let's work to make things better. We have a lot of challenges. We're now in the very small category of rodeos. We've had our challenges with RMS, with COVID, but we need to work. We need to become more of a team. And if there's things that we need to do as a leadership, when a person told me, we expect leadership from you, I'm like, I'm not the leader. And the person said, yes, you are. You're a member of the board. And I'm like, I can't argue that. So, there have been some people that I have mentioned, but I have not called out names, nor do I intend to. But let's follow our rules and get the train back on the tracks. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Any questions for Michael? Tommy, did we move you up so that you can go?
Oh, we have minutes to keep us on.
Well, he said he wants to, so he's gonna.
I had,
Either have to defer to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Tommy, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Candy. Good morning and welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here for the board meeting at Rocky Mountain Regional Rodeo 39. For anyone in the room, which I don't see, who don't know me, myself and Brendan Sullivan are co-rodeo directors this weekend. Just a few points that I want to go over for everyone. Registration this afternoon is at 5 p.m. under the big top tent down the hill. 7 p.m. is a wonderful dinner for you, sponsored by Metal Mart. Jackie,
Tommy, why don't you have a mask on?
you may have to help me, Jack. Metal Mart.
You have had COVID for the last, I don't know how long. Why don't you have a mask on? You're not answering my question. I'm leaving.
Metal Mart.
Stop. He's out. I'm sorry, Tommy, to interrupt you. He interjects himself on the board, executive board members' presentations. He does it to every one of us. And now this outburst, I appreciate everything that Frank does for us, and I appreciate every penny that he's given us in the past. But he's not a member of this board, and he continues to interrupt and be rude. I mean, it's everybody's choice to do whatever they want. They don't have to be a tenant person. He didn't have to be here. He could have a mask on. Understood he's recovering, but that was absurd, in my opinion.
Okay. But
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine,
But-
you're fine. Is it,
Hang
what
on,
about that?
let's just talk about the COVID vote, because nobody was told this.
That's what-
Anybody had it or anything, so full disclosure, nobody was told anybody had COVID that was gonna be in this room, or, so you're negative now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
They had it last month.
That's fine.
As far as I can, yeah.
okay, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay,
Believe me, I
I
wouldn't.
mean, I had COVID before too, I'm thinking it out, so, but
Yeah.
it's not recently.
Believe me, I wouldn't.
I think everybody in this room probably at some point.
If I thought there was.
okay,
Thank you, Candy.
okay.
So, a stock contractor this weekend is Clint Hilder Bridal, Razor's Edge. And for those of you who did not notice, the horse stalls are up under the covered arena this year, which we were thankful to get that done for you guys. We will be starting rodeo Saturday morning at 11 a.m. I hope everybody's happy with that. You don't have to get up early and rush around and do what you need to do. So 11 a.m. start. With that being said, I think that's all I have on the list. If you see any problems, I'll be wearing a black shirt all weekend. Does everyone know Brendan Sullivan? Well, he'll be wearing a black shirt as well, rodeo director. Brendan's in charge of the up the hill. I'm in charge of the cow, the arena. So if you see any problems anywhere, find one of us. Jack will be in the arena most of the weekend. So don't try and bother him because he's going to be busy all weekend. We should be easily found. Most of you have my phone number probably anyway. I think that's all I have. Any questions
for Tony?
regarding the weekend?
This is unrelated to this, but we do have an item in the agenda that's much further down, and I understand you probably need to go. This is an insurance, communicating the insurance question about IGRA, since he's here right now.
Sure.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. We got the IGRA, rodeo application. The fairground, the facility has increased insurance requirements from $2 million to $3 million, and they have to have proof of insurance by December. Now, normally, I think in the last year or two, we were trying to get on a calendar January to December basis on our insurance, but I think this year we were April to April. So technically, Arizona would be still covered in February for our current policy. What do we need to do to address that additional $1 million coverage request for that one rodeo?
That one rodeo would need to pay for that coverage,
The additional coverage?
in my opinion. Now,
Okay.
I'm not a vote on this board. I'm just telling you, if one rodeo association has special needs, it is not, in my opinion, up to the rest of us to cover those needs for one association. That's
And
my.
wouldn't you assume it wouldn't be a huge increase? Wouldn't you assume it wouldn't be a huge increase?
I would not see it being a huge increase. I wish I had known this before today. I could have had an answer.
Okay.
That I don't have an answer.
That's
It's
fine.
solid concrete as to a dollar figure. I would at this point, if you need an answer today, it's up to the.
Oh, no, we've got 6 months until December to get that figured out, so. I had it on the agenda with the rodeo application, and then I thought, okay, we'll just get that ball started, figure out what the best direction for us to go with that, and your suggestion that they cover the difference.
Well, I am, as my duty would call, to do the investigation and the footwork for them. This is the first I'm hearing of this, so I'm a little blindsided.
Yeah.
Frankly, Michael, you talk about all those kind of things, and yet you're blindsiding me this morning with this. So I'm a little bit little bit on nerve about that. I wish I had known about this even yesterday. I could probably had an answer today.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there, Candy.
Okay.
Just a question for clarification. Did we switch our insurance to calendar year?
I thought we
did, didn't we?
We-
Jack, you are most correct.
That's what I thought.
You
So
are
it's not-
correct.
but it's-
Again, I'm a little
we-
blindsided here with not having the policy in front of me and reviewing it and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff, so.
I thought you did, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna answer any more questions about that because, I'm
So,
done.
yes, I think we're calendar.
That's what I thought as well, and then earlier in the year, I was told that insurance was done effective April to April, and I said, why wasn't it?
We are in a new year, we are under a new policy. You are correct, Jack. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Tommy? Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you all very much and, have a great weekend.
Okay. David?
The financials were sent out, they were posted on the web. But apparently a lot of people can't get to the web. There's one important number in this financial, 4,754.46. That is from Sacramento Capital Crossroads Rodeo Association. When they shut down, they contributed that money to IGRA. You'll find that in the donations. Subsequent to this financial, there is a check from, LD Entertainment Company. It's for the National Anthem film donation. You know, they filmed in Hot Rodeo, and that donation is $5,000, and that will show up in your June financials. Are there any other questions?
Calm down.
Drop down, got
Pork chop's getting all excited about her sister.
I'm thrilled to see the 5,000 donation for the Anthem thing. That's great.
I don't know who was first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Mark.
So the $4,000, where is it going into the general fund, or is it going into, where is it going into?
It's in donations, which is general fund. Same with the 5,000.
Mark Scammell talked to me about it a couple of years ago, and once they got all their tax work
ma'am.
done and all that, then he was gonna donate it to, IGRA, and it showed up that they were making sure that all the taxes, they didn't have any fines and all that, so that's what he was doing.
I would make a suggestion that we send a thank you letter both to Sacramento and the, folks with the 5,000, acknowledging their generous donation to IGRA.
Yes.
Absolutely. Chuck?
David, on the balance sheet, I'm not a financial analyst, so I have some questions, and some of these entries have dates of like 2017, 18, 19. The first one is Legendary Graphics, June 25th of 2019 for 6 sets of rodeo numbers, the amount of $821.52.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Way back when, we ordered some additional numbers before we changed over to your IGRA number. So it really should be written off.
So it's an expense that we should pay or we didn't pay, or,
We pay for the numbers,
okay?
but we never, usually we invoice the association as they use those numbers.
Okay.
But ever since then, we use your IGRA number.
So it's just an asset, it's not really,
So it's a debt.
It's in assets, but it needs to be written off because
Okay. Can I make a motion
we're
to
not
do that?
gonna use those.
absolutely
I'll
not.
make a motion to write that off.
Second.
It's okay.
Who's the second?
Oh, wait for the vote to go.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
The
Abstentions?
the next one,
Oh.
the next one is right underneath that, it's
Good,
the
yeah, good,
two,
hurry.
the two IGRA entries for transfers to finance fund for 1,000 each.
If we don't have a certain amount in that account, they charge us $15 a month.
Okay,
So I transferred some money over there so we wouldn't get the 15 amount.
okay, got it. a little bit further down, the accrual for document scanning.
We haven't scanned in many years, and we need to update that.
So-
And when we do, we'll use that money.
So that's just sitting out in the account.
Yes.
Okay. Same thing with Erica Holter, and there's actually another line for document scanning of 600, same thing.
Right.
So it's 300 a year, and we've done it for 3 years?
Right.
Okay. And then UGRA, is that their?
That's their sanction fee for
You just pay for the road.
2023.
Okay. And then further down, there's a 2013 balance, where that's the one you just talked about with Sacramento for 4,277.
No, that's the scholarship. The Wayne Giacchino scholarship.
Okay.
What's the ledger account you're looking at? Chuck?
2260.
Thank you.
If you go to the balance sheet details, you'll find those numbers.
And then there's one underneath that with a lot of these things that I'm not even sure what it is, or it's all this DSRA entry, stall fee, dispute charge, PayPal thing.
Yes.
Is that? Can you
We have been
summarize
writing
that? in few words?
PayPal. Candy paid the money for DSRA.
Okay, entry
And
fee?
for some reason.
Entry fees.
Entry fees. And for some reason, I don't know if you.
Yeah, it bounced, it's, cause it said international, my credit card, reversed it like it's fraud, and then when I finally called them and I said it was fine, they
They took
cleared
the
it,
money from her.
they took the money from me, cleared it, paid PayPal, it took me, I was on the phone for an hour and a half to get my PayPal unlocked, then he's been on the phone, anyway, everything went on my side, it went through, it went to IGRA,
But we haven't been paid
but they haven't been paid,
Still.
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 They say it'll be 45 to 60 days. And this started in April.
In April. And mine, and I told you, this is a month ago when I told you that cleared all my side, but I had to like physically call Chuck because
Yeah.
I couldn't get anything done.
I spent 2.5 hours on the phone and still
Okay.
no resolution.
So I think this next week I'm gonna call again and have them look at the other side and say, look, y'all resolve this, why isn't the vendor being
Right.
paid?
Yeah.
So I think that's, I'm gonna, cause I
Give
asked,
them their money.
well, yeah, mine's all cleared up, it's all
Yeah.
paid and everything.
That's all I have. Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions?
David, on Tommy's paycheck, why is it 30 cents?
I haven't gotten a time card since October.
Okay.
And in order to keep it active, I have to put something in. So either we need to cut him loose, or we need to get a time card.
Do we need, do we need this position, or can we cut? I make a motion we cut.
Well, I think that has to be done in convention because.
Could that be a done convention?
Yeah.
He's a, yeah, cause it's
Yeah.
not,
That's
Yeah, and I will say, in Tommy's defense, we're now about to approach 2023 insurance process where he will be spending some time getting insurance bids and so forth, getting answers on the additional insurance and so forth. So we could use his expertise, at least somewhat, in the next month or two, but, I would say, you know, we can delay that until, make a decision
I
at the
think
end
it's
of
a
the year.
convention, it needs to be brought up at convention, Mark. Okay,
Thank you.
any
Can I
questions?
make a comment on that?
Sure.
I do think that we have the position, and I don't think we're utilizing it. I think this yields to some of your frustration. We have a lot of people, to Chuck's point, they're all volunteers, but we don't have anybody that's being paid that's accountable to get stuff done. That was why the position was created, okay? That's where our downfall is because we're so caught up in pennies, we're not giving the employee the responsibilities to do this job, to send out, hey, the first of the month you have to send out this notice. Hey, here's the note you need to send them out, or whatever, and keep that consolidated and stuff. And I think that we have too many chiefs
and not one person that's doing it. That's just my personal opinion, and I think that we as a board and as an association, be much more effective if we stop giving all these people these different tasks, and we task the employee as intended to help organize the administrative tasks.
Okay, I think Brian's next on the same.
Since we're discussing it, I totally agree. I think that if we're going to be a 501c3, and we're gonna be effective as a 501c3, we actually need to elevate the position, and we need to have an executive director and have someone fill the executive director position that reports to the board. When the executive director goes out to raise money or take actions, approaching corporations as an administrative assistant is not very effective, but approaching them as an executive director of this fine organization is a completely different story. Just from a historical perspective, we made this bylaw change, or suggested this bylaw change 6 years ago, some years ago. But I think that we do need an executive director that represents our organization, that reports to the board, is supervised by the board president, and go from there. So that's my thought.
Sam?
I'm on the same lines with both these guys. I think it would alleviate a lot of Michael's problems, because I think a lot of things that Michael does now should be over in that position anyway, if we're gonna pay someone to do this kind of stuff. So it kinda comes down to us detailing out a job description for what that position will do, and being fairly specific on a lot of those things, and not general. And, because I think Michael, honestly, I think he's just overloaded so much with having to do all the dates, all the forms, it's a lot for someone that volunteers. And we have a paid position, I think that work needs to be shifted over. So then it kind of comes down to, what do we want to do? Do we want to be a subcommittee? Get a subcommittee together that says, okay, we'll write this description, work with the president, work with Michael, and get those things online and say, okay, this is what that position will do. Then that person will know if they want to even accept that position. But,
Let me say something real fast. So starting back in Arkansas convention, and I've asked Tommy several times to send me a list of what he thinks the admin duties are, which I haven't received. I have an old one that I think Roger Bergman found and sent to me or whatever, and if you read it, it's like the secretarial job. It's, I would tell you, like 90% of it is the secretarial job, and I was reading down through it or whatever and kind of confused or whatever. So we have an old one that we could kind of separate, job titles or whatever, and I agree with Brian as well on the 501c3. That's the reason, I hope everybody understands the reason that we had to have better documentation. He's supposed to turn in a timesheet as he spoke. That timesheet was created by Michael Lentz, and we talked to him, whatever. We have to have documentation as the 501c3 for any hours and all the stuff paid out and stuff, so that was the reasoning for all that, okay? I think it was Mark and then Chuck.
I'm in agreement with you guys on this, but I believe that this needs to be an elected position. I mean, we just don't go and we just don't pick somebody for this position. That needs to be either elected position or an appointed position by the execs or something. And you gotta get somebody in there that's gonna do their job. That's the big things and everything.
Chuck, you're next.
I did search bylaws. There's nothing in bylaws for administrative assistant. There's a few references in standing rules about travel to official IGRA business, delegate fees that are paid, and then about convention registration. But other than
I
that,
think you're right, because I went back to look for this, because it was there several years back, and then even the jobs, or kind of the deal, but then it's gone.
they get nomination forms for
Yeah.
certain things, but there is
Yeah, but it's gone now, because
specific-
I looked last year, or a
Yeah,
couple
it's been
years
gone for a
ago.
while.
Been gone for a while, so it's not in bylaws, so.
Or standing
I
rules.
think it was Jack and then.
I think it was Brian.
Oh,
I was just gonna say, it should be a hired position.
Hire people.
Panels or convention to subsidize costs, whatever that looks like. That rather than saying, you know, we haven't done this, I'd like to see is how do we effectively do it going forward? How do we make this position advantageous to the business model, which we haven't been? And I also think that this position, if you guys correct me, in my opinion, can eliminate, minimize some of the conflicts that this board encounters.
Anyone else?
I just want to comment that thing that we found from years back, it's almost like something you see in the archives. It's so funny. It talks about where the admin would report on the number of the messages left on the answering machine. And the admin would report on the phone call log of all the calls that went to the IGRA office. Our world is a different world today than back when we had answering machines and, you know, having to have a phone log. It's almost comical reading what we used to do so long ago.
So,
Sorry, I was reading something from the Sacramento deal. Go ahead.
oh, I just have a question. So are we, whatever action are we taking from this? We've had dialogue, but are we gonna create a subcommittee, are we gonna?
Okay, are you gonna go back to your motion since,
No.
I'll be drawn.
oh, well, it wasn't in the bylaws, so
No,
that's.
it's not in the bylaws, so-
Okay.
so-
Right.
Yeah, that's like everywhere in our rules and stuff.
So maybe
That's
at
what-
the convention, that's something we need to kind of sit as a,
I think if we, my opinion, if we develop a subcommittee now, we have some time to come up with a comprehensive plan, job description for the fourth quarter meeting or convention to present something that is viable. And I would love to sit on that committee.
Well, girl, you might just chair it for something like you volunteer.
I run that committee also as a former
Absolutely.
executive director of the nonprofit organization. I'd like to jump back in.
We're talking about a lot of things that the secretary does today and that are a record of the corporation. And the IGRA secretary is responsible for maintaining the records of the corporation. So I think I need to be part of that group as well.
I'll be a part of it. We just went through a very similar thing that included a tree of reporting and everything else, nonprofit organization.
Anyone
Well,
else?
they can help make sure we have all of our records straight. We create the drive that has all of our tax confirmations and receipts. And, I mean, it needs to be a comprehensive, accountable position.
I'll do it, Candy.
Okay. Okay. I think was there any more questions for David?
We've never been that busy in a long time, have we? We haven't been that busy in a long time, have we?
Okay, I'll read what, Philip sent something on the,
animal issues.
this is from Sacramento. As you may or may not be aware, I was last president, I think it's from Mark Scannell is where it was forwarded to. When we folded, we divided the money. The Dean Birkin safety account was set aside for the IGRA Safely and Learning Division as that what Birkin account was set up for. I need an address for which I can, send a check to. Okay.
I do have one last question.
Okay.
This 250 for your cause under donations, what's that?
I don't know, I get a check every month.
For what?
Somebody has put us down
I
as
think
a.
it's so I think it's Lumen,
Really?
because that's the term, the Lumen term, so I'll double check, but I think that's the one I put IGRA down for Lumen.
Okay.
And you get it every month, right?
100 or 200 a
Yeah, you
month,
should,
yes.
that should be,
Yeah.
so I'll confirm that that's from Lumen.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a trustee report that you have?
Not really, other than we'll have to.
Later?
Yeah, we'll have the trustee meeting afterwards, and then the pre-rodeo meeting will happen right after that trustee meeting.
The corporate auditor report
We have.
sent out, anybody have any questions on it?
haven't seen him in a while.
Somebody, can you text me?
Last thing he told me, he told me I had a report, because the last report was really, really, really long.
Report received and distributed.
Oh, that was an oversight. I should have changed that. I didn't have anything.
Because it was
Oh,
last
but I
time, we
need to-
didn't, no,
I need to
last
give
time we
you
never.
those.
He's here.
Okay, I'll text him, so that he gets those. Okay, budget, David, you wanna, you should just go right into that.
Well, that was sent out. Are there any questions? Still need a meeting with the finance committee to
Okay.
update budget.
I think that, yeah, I'll, you can set up a
Yeah.
deal.
Set up a phone call.
Because that's a major thing that we
Okay.
need to
Okay.
update.
We'll try to get it within the next week.
Good.
Okay.
Any other questions on the budget tax roll?
What's the attachments in there with the bowls that we bought? Are we paying
Oh.
servers for those?
No, not anymore, but, well, we'll bring it, I think it's a little further down, but I'm gonna talk about that, okay?
It's new business.
Yeah. Follows and let's see, outreach, you got anything more, make sure that.
Yeah, I just wanna, make a comment of, Ryan's been at every rodeo that we've had, and every rodeo that we've had, there's been shortage of arena crew, shoots or whatever, and this individual, I just wanna let, you guys know, he has stepped up at every single rodeo in every different way to, make sure that, things got done, so when you see him out there this week, you just say thank you, please. Ryan,
He said right there.
He's right there, you can tell him thank you if you want to.
Thanks, Ryan.
Somebody got
Time's up.
Time's up. No more talking, Michael.
Okay. Doesn't look like there's any more reports. Here we go. Old business.
Taking her membership.
Does anybody need a break, or are we okay to go on? Are we okay?
There was a report for nominating that was sent out. No action needed.
Okay.
There is a report from, and David Hartwell's public relations for the American Anthem thing is out there as well.
Okay, that copies of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll start it over here. We had a
Okay.
finance committee chair, I'm sure you have to give us an update.
Okay.
I'm gonna ditch that.
Well,
Days over.
Just like-
Okay, Sam.
Get out
Okay,
the way.
Sam.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Pork chop with slavery is further down in the agenda.
Yeah, that's what.
We haven't gotten that yet, pork chop.
We can't
So
say
we did all that.
No, girl, before you get the whole business.
Well, I didn't get anything from the finance committee, but
So after our.
it is on the agenda.
Right.
Oh, so you can get part of it.
The very last one. You wanna go now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, while we're in, okay, we have the arena contract done, we have the stock contract done, we have the hotel done, all those things are in place. Where we are struggling and where we could use your help is sponsorship. We're having a difficult time with that, and, I'm gonna put a couple of other people on sponsorship to help Nugget with it right now. That, Christy being one of them, she's worked it before, she worked, the WGRF, what was it, 3 years ago, I guess, now that we had that. So that's probably, any help, you guys, any suggestions, if you talk to someone, they wanna get the information to me, Boogie, or Nugget right now, cause that's where we're lacking. That's the other thing, we're also working on, we're gonna get more people that are boots on the ground in Oklahoma, because when you look at the committee, there's not a lot of local people there, so we're gonna bring some of those guys on more and try to get them involved. I think we got our royalty stuff situated out in,
I just need to know what, file we're using, that's all I need to know.
okay.
I need to,
Paul's gonna call angles for you.
angles,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's big and got a stage, so.
okay, that's the only thing, cause I'm not gonna be in Oklahoma, but Jamie is, and I told him to take pictures and look at it, just so I have an idea of.
No, exactly, so we've got that going for you.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
And I think that's about I have, other than if you guys have questions.
Sammy, Jonathan Roman, who started this year, he is a go-getter, and he's been doing the rodeos. He stepped up with the SRA and helped us. He hit all this stuff because he's just got free time and he's in the Air Force. And he'd be a good one to reach out to get sponsors because he has all these ideas and he's new and it'd be really good.
Okay, could you
Yeah,
either
I will
text
send-
me his contact information, or
Sure.
better yet, email is the best way, because that's the
But I
easiest way
mean,
to
he
communicate.
got us a couple $1,000s for DSRA, and he only had 2 weeks to do it.
That's exactly the people,
Yeah.
type of person we're looking for, so,
I will.
okay, thank you.
What? He'll be here, Sammy won't be here this weekend. So,
Oh, Jonathan's gonna be here?
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for
I
Sam?
got one thing. We're doing something else for finals. We did everybody has been seeing people take pictures with a butterfly and angel wings. My printer is going to do an angel wing. We're going to take anybody that from any association that has died since the last finals, get your association, your name, and turn them to me, and we will put them on the thing. And it's going to be a great big, huge wings that you can stand in front, get your picture, you can mark on it, and then we're going to turn it over to the archives. Won't cost a thing. Boogie has already found a spot where it can hang in the building. And we're also going to ask that each person that's active in IGRA, contestants, officials that are active, you can put somebody that's personal to you on the web. Like Boogie wants to put his mom. I would like to put my sister who died of COVID during this time frame. That way we'll fill it in. But we want bar owners, anybody that has helped your association that has died from any reason, it's going to be a memory. So if you can start making a list.
Okay.
Before we go with this, I want to talk on the committee report for a second. Look at what happened.
She like.
Is it a complaint or
What
is it
you already got
positive?
this up on?
It's an observation that I want to illustrate.
Okay.
This year in particular, we come to these board meetings and we have these standing committees and we have no report. And so each time I send out emails to the committee chairs and the board, send me your agenda items, your committee report, here's your committee report form. And as you see again, this board meeting, I have getting zero response, zero reports from our standing committee chairs. We have things in our bylaws that says this group should do this on a quarterly basis or what have you. Our committee chairs are not, makes me think that some of our royalty folks, our committee chairs are not doing what's expected. And we continue to just say, oh, that's okay, not a problem. So,
I totally agree with you, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, I think I've only got one in of the 3 that we've had so far. And
okay, just saying, so.
I'll do better, because it's not from your lack of communication. That's what I'm telling you.
Excuse me. There are some committees, Michael, that only meet at convention.
Correct.
They don't meet any other time.
Correct.
So you're not gonna get a report.
Correct.
She wants us to send you one that says nothing to report.
Yeah, and, well, like bylaws, rodeo rules, and Hall of Fame, it's like, that's only gonna happen at convention. That's understood. But, some of these others, there are some expectations spelled out in the bylaws that committee should specifically do. We have some things where something should have been done on a quarterly basis and hasn't been done in 4 years.
What is wrong?
I think that's a structural problem for the organization. Let's be honest, I think that each board member should be a chair of the committees, and you're responsible to get things done. The committee chairs really don't have any accountability. So, for example, Sandy's animal issues, Jack's archives, guys, association presidents, somebody else's health and safety. When we get together as a board, then we report, because we're here. And we're kind of farming out our board responsibilities to the committee chairs and expecting them to do things, and we just sit here and carry on. It's a structural problem with the organization. I think we need to make a change in it. I think it's a tough change to make, but if we're going to survive over the next several years, I think we need to do it, because then we can say, Jack, you know, you've done nothing with archives for, 2 years, what's the deal? You're not a good board, you're not.
Accountability.
Pick on you.
Anything around here.
What's the deal with, dance? Why aren't we having dance competitions? Right now, there's nobody that can answer that question on this room. Should be you. It's a structural problem.
This is another convention item, I think it's a very good idea.
It is, these committee chairs should be board members, and then the people that are on the board, like currently Carl Schmidt, he could be part of the committee, right?
Yeah.
I love that idea, but is it a convention thing? Why could, I mean, I don't
Well,
know
it's
if
assigned,
it
it's
is.
assigned by the president, so
Right, so
then
I
if
don't
you're,
think it's a convention thing, I think it's a
well,
president.
no, but it'd be, that's telling the president who to assign, so you'd have to put something in there that it needs to be a board member, you know what I mean? That's the reason I was saying.
You have to submit to her what you're doing.
We'll come up with a list of responsibilities.
I just want to point out, I'm just kind of looking just at this list, and I don't know the exact number of board members we have, but we do have to realize that would probably be 2 to 3 per board member, because I'm counting like 23, 24 right now of these standing committees. So, and I'm looking in this room at the number that are actually board members, and that, just understand you're gonna have more than one, maybe 3, maybe 2, but that's what that would equate to.
Brian and then Chuck.
Oh,
Chuck.
My only suggestion, Michael, is on this, you have rodeo rules, but you have no response from the committee chair. It would be a little bit more well received if you would put on there that committee meets only at convention.
Yeah, okay, yeah, granted,
Okay.
normally I put,
I know that's just rodeo rules,
Yeah.
it's bylaw standing.
yeah, this month, this meeting, I did that wrong, my apologies.
Okay. Great ideas. Okay. All right, moving on to old business. I don't think Michael Lentz ever got on, did he?
No.
Okay. So, you have any idea on what the status of that is? Did the 990 ever show up online or anything?
He just texted me last night that we need to get together and finish that job up.
Okay,
So
all right.
he's aware.
You got American Anthem movie updates, we got the,
I reported on the $5,000 donation in June.
your update on, we're not using RMS anymore, we're gonna be using Equivent, we'll start at 1:01 a.m. I think everybody tonight, or in the morning,
This morning.
or this morning, it started, it's all open now then. You're gonna find that it's very, very simple to use. The ask of all contestants, and I know there's a small amount that won't know their partners, okay, we can deal with that. But if you do, the more information is really, really cool, y'all, it sends him and the radio director all that information. So they're done. And at the end, sends that Excel spreadsheet that he needs, drops it all in, that they can make the entry, or the contestant forms. So, please do your best to put your partner's name and IGRA number when entering, okay? Website updates, I think you've already got with Frank on
Mhm.
that, on getting those. Any other old business?
I have a question on the registration.
Okay,
The email that you had sent out with the instructions,
yes, sir.
where you were stating that the contestant should enter only one event.
They can. So it charges the credit card fee, and then Tamit's fee is like 5%. So if they don't wanna pay that 5%, they can enter just the one event for their whole, like if I entered remember I told you my whole fees might be $48, but if I entered just the $60, it's $4.80 or whatever that is.
But the rule says they have to register for specific events that they can't.
So do they register for all
They
of
sign up
the
for the
deposit?
events and you sell
But,
them.
yeah, you can register, no, you register for all. Did I just reword, did I worded it badly?
Well, maybe I read it wrong.
No, I'm not worded it badly. They need to register for all of it, pay a deposit on one, so maybe I need to update that, then I just worded it badly.
Because that's what's happening, the payment comes against how much money is being spent
Okay, I
at
just worded,
that.
I'll
Here's what
update.
it says, it says
Okay.
also remind them that they can enter just one event or all, it is up to them.
Okay, I
And my
need to type.
concern was if they did that,
Okay,
rodeo directors wouldn't have any idea. of
okay,
contested
I'll update that right away. Thank you, Jeff, thank
So
you for that.
I know we went to the demo, and the demo was really good. I like that.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, so they can go in and enter 4 events. Let's say they're doing 4 or 6 events.
Yeah.
And they pay the minimum deposit of 60 on one event. But they say, I'm going to do these other 3 events, but I'll pay for my entry fees Friday night when I get there. So they're only having to pay that service fee on the $60 instead of the $480 as an example. So, because to Chuck's point, I think what you're thinking of is the rodeo director needs to know how many bulls I'm going to need, how many steers I'm going to need, how many
event steers, you guys.
and so forth to plan for the events. And so you want to know what the contestants are entering. We don't want people just to put one event and then show up and, oh, I'm going to add this event, and this event. So they still need to know that I'm going to compete in these 5 events. They may only pay one deposit and pay the balance at registration, but
So is this,
Am I-
is that a
If
deposit?
you have a demo, is there any way that someone could video the demo and put that on their website so the contestants can go look in there and actually have someone show them an example?
It's not that hard though.
It's,
Well, that's why if they just have this, wait a minute, think about our contestants.
No.
I'm telling you, like, super simple, and I can enter in front, if everybody wants to watch it, I can do it for you. I mean, it's.
Well, I'm just thinking if it's literally.
It's literally
quick
just,
video
it's
on
just
the
checking
contestant
boxes, and
registration,
I'm not kidding. It's
Watch a
just-
video in the new system and boom, you know,
Yeah.
saves us from all that.
Okay, I'll see if we can do that, and then I can enter the video, that's a good idea. Except for the credit card piece, because you were trying to get it last time.
she typed in her credit number. I said, hold on, let me write that down.
Okay.
Question?
Okay, we're gonna,
Kenny, on the contract for the event,
Mhm.
there's no ending date.
each one is singly, like that, like each one of those deals, it's for that event. Like there's one for, there's just one, when you do it, Tammy does it just for, like she just did it for,
North Star.
North Stars, right? Then there'll be one just for GPRA, and there's one because we changed the open date, the close date. It has a close date on there. I filled them in, I mean, if you need to see copies of what we filled in, there's an open and close date, and so it's done at that close date. And
Okay. Maybe I didn't express myself correctly. Do we have a contract with IGRA to manage that portion of our registration
So,
process?
yes, it's like a hand document.
No, each,
There's one per rodeo.
there's one per rodeo,
One per rodeo, and we can stop at any time,
yes,
and they can stop us at any time?
yes.
And we have to do all these banners and logos. and
I asked
everything else.
Tammy if she wanted me to, I asked her if she wanted to send anything, she didn't. I asked her if she mailed me a banner that I would take it to the rodeos, and she didn't really respond. That was kinda in the beginning of, you know, her whole deal years and years ago with these huge mega barrel races that they put on, that, you know, she just got done. I don't know that she's so, worried about it now, but I'll ask her again, because I asked her if she mails it, I would take it to the next 2 rodeos that we could put it up for, but.
Is it worth us maybe saying we can put something in the rodeo program or do some sort of promoting, you know, our entry system was provided by IGRA Racing or whatever?
Sure.
Okay.
She does, so many events or whatever that, she's well versed in how quick this was. I mean, because when we did the demo, there was 4 things y'all had fixed and,
Uh-huh.
and within a matter of 5 minutes, she
Yeah.
had it fixed, or whatever, it was just buttons that she was,
Yeah, I
bunch of
think you
stuff
had it
that
all
they wanted to
fixed.
see
They-
and
they-
not see and stuff.
Those are all fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, go ahead.
Is there still an interest in not having the ongoing fees? In other words, is there still an interest in IGRA owning the entry point and not having the additional fees go to the contestants? Let me explain my rationale. We don't go, we're not a 500-person barrel race. So, our contestants don't have the capacity to add in $20 or $25 in additional fees. Some of us might. But is there still an interest in developing our own front end that does not include additional fees to the contestants?
I'd say no. I don't think, I've said it to you a couple times or whatever, in the equine world, and I think I do a huge amount of different equine events, it's passed on to the contestant and not the organization. That's what it's moved to, Brian.
Yeah. Okay.
If we had somebody can do what they were doing, it should be like easy, like really, it's just like a page. To do what we're paying that other company to do.
Go ahead.
My particular stance is, I think, from my viewpoint, for our association, there is still an interest. I think that it adds to IGRA. I think it makes it self-sustainable. I think that it doesn't pass on fees to our contestants. And all due respect to them, President, we're not every other association. We're different. We've always been different. It's why we started, to be different. So we continue to always say, to be like everybody else. I don't want to be like everybody else. We're a gay rodeo. We're different. And we have people that are just goats or just wild drag or just camp. Those are unique things to us that we might be able to promote on a separate thing. I don't know the funding. The funding looks very, very high. But maybe this executive director can go out and get funds that make it easier and become versed and make it quickly adaptable. I have a feeling that things are becoming so. What scares me on the other one is they could go out of business tomorrow and we're back at square one again. Right? I mean, she could. What if she got hit by a bus or That's what my fear is.
Okay. Sam and
I just, the biggest fear I have with us trying to develop our own system is the upfront cost and getting the funding.
Agreed.
I think it is just cost prohibitive of this group, and look, we're not gaining contestants, we're losing contestants as time has gone on over the last 3 or 4 years. This I see is so simple and adaptable to anything we've asked it to do, that she's able to, boom, make that creation happen for us. I think the comment of, yes, you could get hit by a bus, but I think there's a lot of vendors that organizations depend on that are under that same gun.
So can I ask you something? If all things equal, if the cost was taken off the table, how would you feel?
Are you including the back-end cost too? Because I'm gonna say back-end cost because there's gonna be maintenance, there's gonna be changing, someone's
It's
gonna
gonna
have
be
to do
minimal.
that.
Okay,
There's gonna
front
be-
end cost, the initial, because your comment was the initial cost. So if that was ever to be overcome with sponsorship or something, then does your feelings change?
Maybe and maybe not they change. The reason I don't, I think that from the example, when this one was used, it was so simple that I'm like, here's our immediate need. Okay, and that's what we have right now is the immediate need. If we wanna look at that 2 years down the road and we say, okay, this cannot meet our need, and we might need to go to the other one, I just wanna see all that before we try to put a bunch of money into something. I would like to see this one proved wrong.
Chuck.
I know my association's interested in on ourselves. I also
also confirmed with David that there was a donation of $10,000 from somebody earmarked for this, for a new online registration. So if that funding is there, then we need that confirmed. Is that funding still there?
It
David?
was used on RMS.
On RMS? I thought RMS, we didn't have a contract.
Did worse.
We did, but we didn't.
We
We
paid
paid a
$10,000
year,
for RMS?
we paid per rodeo, and we paid for special programming. I'd have to look all that
I
up.
think you were gonna touch it.
Yeah, I don't think so that, I don't think we were trying to be like everybody else.
Okay,
It was just to fill the void at
Yeah.
the time.
okay.
But as I said earlier, I mean, 'cause that proposal, I'm not sure what we were looking at, but $40,000-$50,000 was a lot of money. But I mean, literally, I think if we knew somebody who knew what they were doing, they would just create a web page and you go in there and you put your information and you check what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
What your events are, how much do you wanna prepay, I mean, there's that piece that you gotta link to PayPal or whatever. But it's literally like a one-page thing on the website, and then the ability to export a report. It's not.
And don't ever get me wrong, I'm not against owning our own stuff, but the amount of money that was proposed, I just.
Can I ask a question, just because I don't know, because I don't register, of course, great. So how much does it cost the average person's, if you had, say, an average person, what's it gonna cost that contestant to register? So what's it cost you on this system to register?
I don't know, I didn't see the demo, I wasn't invited to the demo. Let me just clarify something really quickly. The $40,000 that I quoted originally for that last time was for a soup to nuts, fully integrated system, not for a one-page upfront system. That's $3,000 or $4,000. That's something that we own, that we have, that we serve out as no continuing cost to our no ongoing cost to our contestants, or no additional cost to our contestants. So I don't want people to be confused with that quote about that, which was a front to back end solution integrated with what we're talking about now. They are totally different things.
So Candy, what is the, sorry, I'm just gonna, what does it cost per event? Is it per event?
No, so it's,
8%.
it's like 8%, for whatever you put in there. The 3% is the credit card fee, so which is another discussion that we need to have, because, you know, when Michael did the numbers, Lynn did the numbers on what we paid in credit card fees, we don't need to be paying those credit card fees. So even if you went, like if we could come up with our own system, like you're talking about, like a one-pager,
Sure.
we still need to pass on the credit card fees when in.
Sure, yeah,
Okay?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
if you could just follow me for just one
Okay.
second. David, what is the average rodeo revenues from contestants that they paid in their fees? It's about $15,000 or $20,000?
No.
Entry
Do
fees?
like you did Palm,
More like
again, I did Palm Springs,
11,000, 14.
9.
It may be nine.
So maybe,
Total.
$800 per rodeo, right?
At the max, but if they're only entering one event, you're not paying that. You understand?
Right, but we're saying, so
Okay.
we're taking the average rodeo,
Okay.
$9,000, right? 9,000. So you're about $800 that is being passed to the contestants, right?
Mhm.
So over, do we have 14 rodeos this year scheduled?
12.
So 12, so if you take the 12 times 8,000, again, I brought this up in Palm Springs, you're about $10,000. Okay, that $10,000 is coming from our contestants. So over 5 years, you've now charged your contestants $50,000 that they didn't need to pay. Don't we have an obligation as a board to be responsible to associations that are paying a fee to be a part of this organization to give something back to them? We don't give anything back to associations. I feel an obligation on this board to start giving something back to the associations for their fee. And I think if it's a $3,000 one page to get started, to me, that seems like a wise investment. And we sell it as a benefit, hey, this is something you're getting for your membership fee.
Okay. But
That's just my 2 cents.
So we already voted for this to be used at that meeting. This, if you've got a proposal, certainly that's cheaper, that's fine, but we also need to make sure that it's capable of them paying the fees of using their credit cards instead of IGRA. That's the one thing that we wanna get away from, is us, spending money. Your numbers, the only thing wrong with your numbers is, I would agree with you if they paid everything, but you can ask these two guys right here. There's
Take out the
there's
2.5%.
very few contestants that pay their full fees when they enter. They pay them there at the registration. So she wouldn't be getting it.
It's about $3,500.
You understand?
Yeah, I
So
see, yeah.
you're
They're not-
only
they're-
a quarter, so take that
they're-
number and divide it by 4,
Okay.
only a quarter of that, so, okay.
So, yeah, that makes it, thank you.
Okay, Michael, then
Appreciate
Joe.
it.
I'm gonna approach this from a big picture perspective. Number one, when Kane says that all equine is gone in this direction, and this is normal in the equine industry, our camp events, our rough stock, and our roping people are not as used to the barrel racing approach to registration. That's not a showstopper at all. We needed a front end to get our registrations back where we can manage our registrations prior to rodeo. Now, most people do not realize our rodeo program where we actually process the events is DOS based. I have to use a 32-bit machine to do rodeo processing. If at some point DOS says, oh, we're not going to work after the year 2000, that didn't take place, but just as an example, if we lose our legacy DOS system, we are in a big hurt. I think having a long-term solution to get an end-to-end solution that eliminates the credit card fees to IGRA is a direction we need to go. I think last year or at some point, I remember the credit card fees that IGRA paid for rodeo registration was close to $8,000. I think it may have been more, may have been a little bit less. I don't know.
Mike Lansing had a $14,000.
Okay, I knew it was astronomical.
I don't know what the time frame was, but it's a lot.
Yeah, so whether it's $8,000 coming out of our general fund is significant. And so I agree, if we charge the contestants this, well, that burden of that expense is moved from IGRA to the contestant to pay for the use of their credit card. Years ago, we never took credit cards. We didn't have the means to take credit cards. Now it's a common thing, and I think we've even had discussions over the past 12 months where it would be ideal to have everyone pay all their entry fees when they register. Friday night registration becomes almost a non-event, so to speak. But so we need to look at the future. Have to work on a 32-bit machine, and our rodeo program that we're using today, it's 40 years old. So it's not going to work forever.
Hang on a second, we need to take a break so they can set up lunch and stuff like that. Do you want to we finish this discussion right after? Is that all right with everybody? So we can watch it. Okay. Yep.
It's late, driver.
I know it. Here you go. I'm sorry. He'd already asked me.
Talk today, girl.
Candy, he just registered
For North Star.
for North Star. A minute.
This went, a minute went through.
$4.80.
That was you would show, but you saw how.
Yeah, it was a wonderful, $4.80, I mean, I'm done.
The question is,
They give you.
Question is, does Michael then take the information and manually key it in?
No, so, I can show you the new program. Okay, so it's immediately send a text to you.
They sent me a text as soon as I hit.
Send you, look at your email, show Brian your email.
Oh, where are you? I get all that.
Okay, no, so it sends him an email of everything. It sends the rodeo director an email of the entry, and then at the end, it drops into an Excel spreadsheet that moves all around, that drops into their legacy all the way across with all the contestants' name, Brian, all the events, and then the stalls.
But what I like is it's very.
You understand?
At the very top, it says, do you wanna pay 60 deposit, or do you wanna pay your full amount? Again, to check one of the two.
I know.
I understand that, but, and I think that's.
Why do you think this old machine has no use?
That's $3,100 a year of cost to the contest. Okay, let me finish my thoughts here, please. When people go to 1,000 persons for a 500-person barrel race, okay, their expected winnings could be $600.
Right.
Our expected winnings are $60 to $100. It's a great solution in the industry. I'm just asking about a long-term.
See, DSR used to be $100.
you could preempt just
The last year, $800 fee for credit card that came out of because it came out of our titles. And that came out of our, so. Somewhere usually it's gotta come out.
And I'm opposed to your
Last year.
money, but if you,
But $800, that's a lot of money, $800, $1,200. You know, it's only 1%.
I totally support
So,
that.
what I'm saying is we're already set up for this last four rodeo, the convention, for that proposal, we start 2023 on your deals. I'm not opposed to that, I just know when the money got away.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
and that was the deal.
But I
And I like your idea because we thought RMS was gonna be soups to nuts.
Yeah,
And it kind of was, and then it blew up.
yeah.
So did we put them to take
They got both sold. So in the, when they got sold, it's the new people,
All our.
So we didn't have it where it was, you know, their first year, the year before last, it was like Christmas, but they gave all our information, they could get it, everybody was ready. And then all of a sudden, it started this first,
IGRA or whatever, the finals and all that, it breaks it down.
It started from 28 process to 6. So that'd be weird.
So,
Or we're meeting rodeo rules.
Okay.
Probably the cost of this guy
There's no subsidization,
a similar front page match up with this cost.
I think it's gonna be in the annual.
So I think it's
No, I know.
We need an end-to-end solution. Or somebody else. That's fine.
I'm not stuck on that.
He can create that for the door. Attached to whatever new technology comes along. It used to be, we can start build it so that it's just plugged into, literally, you can see somebody's right now, that's a bit
It works.
I know.
It works, but it's not going to be supported.
You have to get a special window scan. Windows 11 probably.
So, what I'm saying
It was something that they were having to do everything by me, everything.
we're arguing the same thing.
We thought RMS was going to do it.
Because they started getting.
And it did, it almost, the only thing they would do was print checks without printing.
Well, you had to get
And it would do all right. It did all right by day. To replace what we're getting.
We can, if we don't have the charts on it, we do it as a little moment, but just has on servers or whatever. And, the contestants can pay their own credit card fees if they want. But then, yeah, but we could even come up with a position where they could, they could charge for checking.
Yes, absolutely. They could choose. And then build it with the idea that we've got to get away from this 32-hour system. What needs to be implemented?
I mean, I would love to see it do it all, and RMS was getting very close, and then it blew up.
Yeah. So we are arguing the same things. I don't need to think that I am pretty opposed to what's going on. Okay.
I'm gonna edit this, but it's like,
I think I get it in more space. Oh, I see.
I wrote it on that sheet, I thought I said.
However, all we're doing is we've got the 10 things already in the background, 9 of the 10 things. All we're doing is outlining is one thing, the first thing. Okay. That's okay. This connects to that, which is 32 blocks. It's not even just 32 blocks.
And from smelling like the whole closet, it's pretty good.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone we're on lunch break, so, lunch, at lunch, about like 12:30.
Okay.
50,000.
12:30, you said?
Yes.
I'll tell those outside, having a smoke.
We're on lunch break. Till 12:30, eat.
That's all I needed.
They said breakfast.
Maybe we should move it up there.
I go out feeding those, I got the pair away around and the feeding pair. Well, I did this morning, but I came here and did it again. Got to. Now.
You're JJ. No, here's a JJ.
I'm not. That's right. I'm gonna sleep in the yard. No.
Yes, we're.
I gotta catch it, I will watch it.
Is it spread for? It's very.
Everything's going back. Shut up. I did not. Never. I never. Show me.
Whoever did tell them, 'cause that's pretty good. Yeah, well.
It is. Yes, she is.
Pardon me, excuse me.
Take those frustrations out.
Oh, my God.
She don't like me.
Yeah, I did. Because I think if I understand, there are these explained what.
I took care of it, Brian, don't worry.
No, but he's got the house open, I didn't want him to.
privacy.
No problem.
It's only just something like that, we lose to.
No problem.
Besides, I'll go through withdrawal being so far away from it. Oh, about an hour and a half from here, yeah.
I saw an ad that there was one in Aurora.
Hang on a second,
But I didn't.
Hey Siri.
There's one in Aurora.
One option is Moon Barn on South Parker Road. Do you want that one?
There's one 6.6 miles away from here.
Okay.
And it is on, 6360 South Parker. Shut the fuck up.
Did you just ask where one was?
I just asked Siri with the close near me, that's all you have to do.
We're just staying right here with Fairfield.
Yeah, so there's one about 7 miles away.
You all came into here.
Jamie.
The one in Dakota came in.
I'm not sure.
Robbie.
I have no idea.
And then Brandon, we got to teach us.
You gotta sleep sometimes, all
Well, I can shut that door, it doesn't open.
That's
I'll have to climb out the window. Just saying.
Uh-huh. I'll be out there waiting to catch you too.
He got himself swallowed because he's not using.
And drop them in your head.
I like your doorstop though.
Do you?
Yeah, I like the doorstop.
You want it?
Everything else is us.
And how long are we getting that one break out?
Put it in your suitcase.
We should put you around.
I know you put it out, right? What is it? Dandy Town or what? Doesn't have it. Yeah, you get 2 bags.
Imagine who it is lined up the person in charge of the and they should have.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
I was so. That's why I need to go to the door.
It's like contacts.
Nobody got my orders.
It's all about. I come over and get over sit down there.
Yeah, his papers, everything.
I'm afraid if I shit on it.
How big is it? Pulls in, sits down, walks around the back, and opens it, there's no paper.
All the chickens.
Yeah, and people have run over this stuff. Yeah, from the Phoenix and
We probably gone half hour. Retirement days.
So for Vegas, you see my car there. I did not ever see anything close to that.
Okay. And my assistant difference.
Did you walk her all the way down there again, or? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yes.
What we do is we're going to do. Yes. So, I mean, all business in
So every time I see it,
Poor guy.
sometimes we get. I'm talking you want? Yeah.
No.
because
Secretary of Law. But that's why I asked the question, but, the younger one, too, answered it.
But Anthony's
Who used to drop over?
No, I got one on my phone. Years ago, I had a surgery, they had to come get a blood
The all-around system, printed, Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But then the computer also calculates all-around, and then we verify and compare it to.
But I remember watching
Yeah, yeah, and then we're recording the points to make sure that secretary agrees with the auditor. Oh, yeah.
Order it now. Because it took us a word of the day.
You got time now?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, good afternoon.
Did y'all have to get a special order of last time? I've only been in one place that happened. They had like smoke flares on food.
That's the last people that will be affected. Because someone said something that was on the application, I'm like, I corrected that last year. In the Denver rules, it says you should show it changed there. Some good tacos. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. I know. It's either there or no, not there. Thank you, Daddy.
Get a coach wallet, they know where I'm at. Is it?
What do you think I am?
I don't know. Look at that. Oh, yeah.
Are you gonna be a health nut in retirement?
Well, that's changed.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, so. Oh, that's me, I really work.
She went back for seconds.
But she wasn't going.
Was there any blue phone? I hope all your shit's out of that house.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Didn't go home till 3 in the morning and eat at 3,
When
so.
you text me, you tell her, you want to talk to
Oh,
someone. Oh, for tacos. That's what I meant.
I don't actually.
When you got home,
Yeah, but he didn't.
yeah.
He didn't eat like.
Oh, no, that was the point, I was hungry, girl. Well, until I did.
Hey, did you ever see Tim when she died?
She's awake, girl.
Molly went not right.
Kilter.
Taking over a bit, so I think that we should do here.
That's right.
You could have called me at 3 in the morning.
I almost did, because I was trying to figure out how to order my lift, but I was so drunk, I was so staring at the app, and I kept trying to type the address in here.
Is that when you called me?
Did I call you?
Yeah, twice.
Now you're finding out why.
Oh,
It's all about you.
I didn't answer, so I had to figure it out. He's got a key.
It's around his wrist, hopefully.
Where is it?
I was frustrated.
My alarm,
I was driving.
my alarm went out.
Oh.
2:18.
That makes it more fun. The one we looked at,
Anybody like leaving, I think it's starting.
right, I just accidentally added it.
I gave Jerry your phone. I guess you asked for that promo video or
That was at
something.
12:20.
That's okay.
That wasn't it.
Encourage.
That was at 12:21. No, that wasn't.
Yeah. For the next month. That's whole different.
On the agenda, you say CGRA 2023 rodeo school application. That's all it took.
You're in rodeo application?
Rodeo school. Then when you go to the attachments, you have the 2022. Today's rodeo application.
Oh, I attached the wrong one.
So you might want to send that out.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that?
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay,
You send
yeah.
that out to everybody? Please.
This happened since then.
Before you sleep.
I don't think it's closed yet.
Do we need to put workup C in there?
They would have never made the adjustment. I told Randy.
That's what my boss is.
When he called me, he said, please put this in my grant. Don't kill this.
They wouldn't actually sit down.
No.
12:30.
She took his lungs out. Because I told her she better hurt, she would wall out there and wall back.
At least he doesn't treat you like you treat other people. So he tells me, it's gotta be.
Oh, no. No. She got kicked.
She's mad because I didn't fuck her first.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fuck her first.
Yeah, he got the first
We're
and
dressed the
second.
way we
I did put this on you.
Oh, God.
Now you are, now you are.
Fairly clean shoes. And like I'm laughing, I'm like, you and I'm good.
Oh, my God. Yeah, but.
Those shoes. They like the whole lawyer was like $12 out the door. That's all right. I'm just like laughing here like a box.
Look at who's here, girl. Are you alive?
Y'all said that the board WDRF thing was at 10. What time am I supposed to be here?
Board meeting starting at 10.
I'm sure that was, is that yours? Or that's the business? You left it in my room. Not me.
Bird.
That would be the new name. I gotta make sure. And you should be getting
Clam.
next week. So they pay.
That's where you found out.
Well, actually, I knew that before I quit. So I was hoping our friendship would.
So next week.
Strong enough to do that?
Yeah.
I tried to go on.
No, that's
That's
what I'm saying.
not
I'm trying to go on.
Where it was coming, so it just.
She was at my dinner, she was my waitress, and then she was my breakfast. My breakfast, and then
What'd you have for breakfast, girl?
it was some eggs and some sauce. What? Shaka?
You shot that. Fire.
Well, you're the one who got on the, we call him.
Well, in all fairness,
You know, you're training.
they carried it.
It's the first thing we wanted to next up.
You ordered several while I was standing there with you, Rich. Miss Ruppelmans. She got on the Ruppelmans. He tried to do that to me,
What?
He tried to show you Weston on his Oh, I mean, I had breakfast girl. She took her.
People are really getting upset.
Girl, I was in no mood tonight, y'all.
Oh, girl, got some ass up here.
I do. I'm a massive bad sister. Get away from us. I'm a massive bad one.
I get it.
Yeah.
They'll text me like, sometimes they. What was even on Juneteenth? I had several past members coming in. No, but I'll tell you this, I'll give it to the post office because it's slow. They're like, oh, sorry, yeah.
You did. Cost
Well, I've been doing this, and I love that anyway.
From 6 o'clock this morning.
Maybe.
Oh, like, and y'all gonna make me wait till 7:30 to eat at each.
We're just on that. We went like now, second round.
No.
I didn't know if that's too, but he does. I mean, this one will go high. So he was sort of used to them.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, they're all so if it's not, all personal start all business.
Yeah, please.
Businessmen.
Wow. You see the walk around, I'm just saying, I'll start getting around.
We want to do better.
Just to see it all, yeah.
So,
That was really nice said, especially the one, that's why I told you that we were smoking, you were thinking that long. Shut up, get in here.
That's what I said, it's this kicks in here now.
I got one thing, I remember what they were gonna do, what kind of meeting.
She walks after
Hey, how are you, Kevin?
Right, right.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. I don't know who else might.
It is. It's not as fancy, but you know what? I go out there all the time. Yeah, I do.
This thing's pretty good. I had a.
Yeah, but and that's the case.
There's a guy in this
To match. No, that's what I saw first. I was like, that, it's like, I was like,
a couple blocks.
Okay. Okay. Well, you got me the check as well. I'll go to the site.
you know what I thought so much of? Last year.
Really?
My house was
So we have A1,
reading's going on right now. It's their 100th year.
All the way down. This tree.
yeah.
This one.
All of it in there?
Well, maybe
They went up.
okay.
Maybe we just change that to the policy. Across the board. Because we went to 3 different places on rodeos. They were we just did it with the and we had
the, we had come up with a $3 million, policy.
Oh, this is changing. Yes, yes, ma'am. He was that kind of drunk.
Our employees,
He didn't stand up.
I mean, that's probably the new norm. And look at them.
Okay, everybody back in?
and that's the same way buildings that were building. Our buildings are changing on a weekly basis.
How much the rents are?
Yep. And fuel? The fuel cost is what.
Hey, close that meeting. Go folks. Thank you.
So you get right. The forms that we
Okay.
Thank you for showing us.
Well, just beware, she can dish it out as well.
She knows that too. She brings up those issues.
Are you staying at the Airbnb or David?
I'm at the,
Well, you're right.
well, girl, I'm in the car.
I don't even-
I'm not a checker. I think they were gonna designate you as one of the drivers, so essentially.
Okay.
We got
Jamie,
paper by
Colonel, Mr. Barr again.
We're top notch.
Mr. Barr again.
Angles. They've got the big warehouse in the back of the restroom, they can enter right through the back of the building at their age.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. It was Wes, Chuck, and Brian, but we had a little side, conversation that I might wanna like say in a way that might end it. We had, Brian's gonna get, with his partner and see about, what it would cost for that one page. We finish out in these last 4 rodeos with the Echo Band, and then at convention, he can do the proposal, demonstrate or whatever, and we can move to one for IGRA for 2023, if that's acceptable to everybody. Anybody have anything else to say on that? Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to, it's about the contestants and what they're paying, because according to the current payout, the way that the entries are split, $4 for every event entry goes to the local association costs rodeos, and $2 goes to IGRA. Years ago, $1 that was earmarked to help pay for online registration. So I'm just cautious because we have a dwindling contestant base that, we raised the fee, $30 a few years back, which wasn't that much, and now we're looking at other fees. We just need to be cognizant of what that statement is, and we may be chasing out a lot of these young contestants who are going to have to do it. I think we have a responsibility to be transparent with them and let them know. Most importantly, with e-barrel racer, we have to be very, very clear with them to let them know that they're only paying for one event, because if they're going to get surprised with that huge fee, they're going to come back to us, back to e-barrel racer. So I just want to be sure that we're really clear with the direction and instruction that we give them for this system.
So, I have a question, Brian. Is there a way that when we produce this one page thing, that this could be premised so that we see this ahead of time?
We could certainly do that. Yes, so the answer is yes.
So that they can actually see that they understand that.
And then now
this is what we're doing.
Well, I think also we can actually create a document with screen prints and like publish this example on the website and say, this is what you'll see, this is what you do. If you want to pay all your events, you do this, and this will result in a higher convenience fee, or just, you know, you pay this 60 and you're $4.03 or whatever. Have a document against the screen print so they know what to look for and what they will see could be helpful.
Okay. Wes, did you have anything else for that all good?
I was just gonna say, I registered for North Star while we were all discussing, and it took me almost 2 minutes when it was done, and I had a text and an email back from the register.
Did you do all your partners?
What?
Did you do all your partners?
Yep, I did my partners.
Again, remember guys, you look at the contestant page and see how many contestants you're trying to find partners.
Yeah.
So is the message, don't register for those events? If you
No,
don't have
it
your
just says,
partners?
please, it just says, please
Try.
try, because
I'm not talking about registering, okay, I'm just talking about,
it doesn't stop you.
so you can register without partners?
Yeah, you can register without it.
Okay.
Yep.
And one thing I liked was it gave me the option at the very beginning, do you just wanna pay $60 or do you wanna pay your full amount? And I clicked the 60 box and then it entered me that way.
So could we not ask her to stop the 16 then?
No, because some of us will pay for all of ours.
She left,
Huh?
she left the meeting.
Oh, by the way, we're a 501c3, so if anybody's
Okay.
that's executive
Okay,
director.
we move into new business now. Okay, so mechanical bulls, they are sitting in a trailer of mine, and they need a new home. So, well,
Well,
okay,
you
so
can
the
afford them.
reason I asked David to do the documents is that, we were losing, there's a bunch of money that's spent on them being in storage. Wes had the one for, I don't know, a couple of years, I had the body of the other one, there is only one full one and a body of another one and a couple of parts.
When were they last used?
They
We
were
picked them up.
3 years ago.
Yeah, we picked it up from Ken Stone in 19, and it was sitting outside in a truck on a hill and it had been there for.
That's the ones we used it when we did the Business Expo in New York and
Yeah,
stuff. that we
yeah,
went to.
yeah. Okay, so, let me finish. So whenever someone was gonna use this, and back when we were with the other insurance company, he would not insure in any way anything like this. Now, what's with this is a little bitty thin mat, and I'm telling you, if you were gonna use this, you'd have to have 4 full-size mattresses to even be halfway safe. This thing is all hand-driven, and it's very heavy, very bumsome or whatever. So I just wanna see what IGRA wants to do with this. If another association wants it, if y'all want me to post it and sell it, what do you want with it? Because, something needs to happen.
What do you want for it? What do you want for it?
Thank you.
Before you ask that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
If before anybody thinks about that, you need to check on this insurance as you stated, because you may want to use it for a rodeo school, you may want to use it in some way, but you better check with insurance carriers, because they're not going to want to use it.
Yeah, exactly, that's what's happening, is that they would not, Bruce said they wouldn't at all. So I would certainly ask, I know a lot of high schools, rodeo associations use these things or whatever, I don't know how they get around it, but people have along the property and stuff like that, so.
Now, there wasn't,
This could be used as a training,
Yes,
you know, if there's someone who would be, and we could make a donation to donate it.
there was a box with it that I didn't realize, when I was cleaning out the warehouse. There was a box with waivers that he had in Pennsylvania, and it said, you're writing this uninsured, we're not covering it, and having everybody sign it. And that, there's like 50 of those in that box. And there's other little pieces of stuff for mechanical build in this box. Because I did get it, and Adam gave it to me at another day.
you did get what?
I did get it all that time, and then when I saw Adam again, he gave me this box with other stuff that went with
It's
it.
probably because the other deal only has like, maybe the cylinder, and it doesn't even, that bottom foot, it has a couple of those red feet.
Yeah,
there.
but this is a box about this big, and it has
Yeah.
all.
Nothing. So there's really one complete, one other body. The other body could even be like set up a stand made for it where you can just have people sit on it or something like that, but that's what they are, but they're, the thing, it's the size of the bull, so you can understand that from nose to tail, it's like 8 foot long, and then spread out with the feet, you know, it's the whole circumference of half this
No, it's
hill right
not.
here.
It's like 2 people can carry it.
Michael?
If I read the attached financials for that, about the bulls, over the years, I think we paid about $7,000 in storage for that thing.
Yeah.
So we need to get rid of it.
And Candy's not charging us.
Yeah, I'm not charging anything, I just wanted the use of that, I got both bodies, I don't know if everybody knew, the FGRA trailer, we got it with all the stuff, we cleaned it out, dispersed some of the stuff, and so both of them are sitting in that trailer now in my place, but I'd like to we need to make a decision on what we're gonna do with these, if somebody, Mark, if y'all are making an offer for it, make an offer for it.
What are we gonna use it for? P3 entertainment.
Okay.
So we didn't pay anything for it originally? Or
$2,000.
Paid $2,000 for it?
Oh, we need
But that
to.
was how many years ago? How many years ago? Oops, I appreciate it. It's computer, we should sell that.
Okay, this current discussion is what to do with the IGRA bucking bulls. It's not mechanical, it's manual.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
It takes
manual,
4
so
people,
very
that's a
manual.
bear.
Very
Oh,
manual,
really?
to move it around too.
It's
Oh,
tough.
it's not
It's,
mechanical.
it's tough to move.
It's tough,
It's got 2 handles, one at both ends, and one person does this end and one person does that.
yeah. So.
I say sell it.
Just
Just
sell it.
sell it. Just sell it. $300, $300, this is something like that.
You can put it on eBay and sell it.
Motion to put it on eBay and sell it. Best offer.
I'm trying to say sell it, put it on Facebook.
Any other discussion?
No shit.
Although, let's pick up on it.
Does the trailer come with it?
No. For a nominal fee, yes. They can just drive off with them. Speaking of that, I've got a bunch of stuff for TJ, all that office stuff that was in there for the rodeo.
All the what?
It was all their office stuff, FGRA's office stuff, and cleaned out the trailer, I stacked all the big usable stuff. It was rodeo stuff, office
Go
stuff.
through the closet.
I saved a lot of it was pens, papers, folders, just different stuff. used
For
in-
TGRA?
Yeah, I was gonna donate to TGRA.
Oh, okay.
So I'm telling you that I saved all that stuff, it's all rodeo stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Do we want to limit it to eBay?
No, I'm gonna do marketplace.
Well, his motion
Okay.
said eBay.
Yeah, so to sell.
Any
Sell it, eBay.
Online.
online
Oh.
sale.
Facebook
No
Marketplace.
returns.
No time, yeah, no return.
No refund.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Abstentions? Perfect.
I think we're gonna miss it when we go back there.
Okay,
For some reason, they cannot hear us on Zoom.
we go to, we've got AGRA rodeo application, CGRA rodeo application. Is the NGRA rodeo school, is it for this year's 2022?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. The rodeo schools for this year, right?
Yes.
Well, hang on.
Did I say 2023?
Michael, did you make me read it yours? They can't hear? I think it's over on me, I think you've taken this frame, so move back to it somehow. I think you've got the screen. You can hear? Okay, they can hear now. Perfect. Okay. All right, so let's do, you want to do the 2 rodeo applications, AGRA and CGRA's 2023. Anybody have any questions on those? You want to do them separate together?
Motion to approve both.
Second.
Second, by Chuck.
Question.
Go ahead.
Jack, for the waiver on the speed events contractual agreement,
Yes.
is it possible to consider not having flag rates only? I'm sorry, it's for flag rates only, is it possible to consider not having the in the arena for flag rates?
I thought that's what.
It just says speed events.
Yeah, we absolutely can. Yeah. Yep. No problem.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Abstentions? Passes.
Thank you.
New Mexico Rodeo School, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Abstentions? Approved.
Thank you.
WGRF Grand Marshal vote. Vote, New Mexico.
So, yeah, the board has to approve. We have to vote on it here. We can, the WGR committee can't.
I know,
Okay,
it's a vote, but that's what I'm saying, these next ballots.
so,
WGRF Grand
Oh.
Marshal. You wanna list who the,
I'll go through the list. Are you gonna, yeah, I can ballot some way or whatever. Okay, so.
Michael can take the count right here.
Okay. So, the nominees that came up for Grand Marshal were Michael Lentz, Ron Trusley, Sandy Bidwell, Amy Griffin, and David Hill. Those are the five that I am aware of that came in. The committee's recommendation is Michael Lentz.
What were the nominees again, sorry?
Michael Lentz, Ron Trusley, Sandy Bidwell, Amy, and David.
How many people on that list that received it prior?
The only one that I am aware of that was checked was Ron, and he had not received it.
I have.
You have received it? Okay.
So I'll take it.
Okay. So David Hill has removed himself from the nomination.
Started off
You
that
fired
list,
everybody today.
including himself.
Do you know if Amy has received it?
She has not.
Okay, Amy has not received it. We know
Ron
Ron
has
hasn't.
not.
Michael Lynch?
He has not.
No.
Okay, so everyone else that's on the list has not received it, as far as we know, right here.
So the committee recommended Michael Lynch, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The committee doesn't.
I don't
Why? It doesn't matter, but. So, as we talk, I think they're all very, very worthy and deserving, in my opinion. But, if you look at, IGRA, being IGRA finals, you have Ron Trusley, which was secretary for how many years? 20 years.
Yeah.
And never been recognized.
Yeah.
You have Amy, that was a 2-term vice president, chair, Hall of Fame, judges, something else maybe.
I think one thing that, just to add, that was brought up too, is that he's from Oklahoma. And then finally.
Ron.
Ron is from Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's from Oklahoma and
Yeah.
So,
That's, I think I would,
That would be neat.
yeah, so, and, Sandy has done a lot and volunteers almost every rodeo, has done a lot. But if, from my perspective, you look at it from the international rodeo perspective, and I just caution us to be, I don't know how Michael got, and I love Michael, everybody knows that, he's very well deserved. But I think, what I heard, was it was because he got us out of the tax stuff, elimination. And I just want us to think of totality, what led up to this, years and years of service versus a horn halo employee appraisal effect. It's great this year, but if you look at the longevity, in my opinion, Ron Trusley or Amy Griffin are the two most deserving on that.
just.
Mike doesn't have the same kind of accolades on the judging?
He does, yeah, absolutely. He's chair of the judges and been a judge for 20 years, yeah, absolutely. But I'm just saying, serving on the
Trustee,
trustee, yeah. They've all three, they've all been.
a contestant?
I do also want to point out Ron's commitment to IGRA for as long as he has. He's evolving from IGRA. He's been on the rodeo committees, he's been on, he's been on the board. I think they're all very, really absolutely, without a doubt, what they contribute. But as far as longevity and the number of rodeos that IGRA has grown, not just Phoenix, but Tucson, finals, five finals and shows. That's just not Tucson.
Do we have to do a ballot or can a motion be made to?
Just do it.
How about Tim and Weston, can you, Tim
You-
and Weston,
you
can
and
you
Weston,
take the balance
yeah.
and do the count?
Well, he's an alternate trustee.
Oh.
Oh,
who?
Tim is.
Oh.
It should probably get.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I don't know, is he on the call?
You don't recognize
y'all doing
Randy
Zoom?
Lucy?
No,
Oh, I thought you were doing Zoom.
no, sorry.
Janet can help.
That's it, yeah. Two of them.
I'm Cal, Vincent Whipple.
Okay, you got to vote.
That's it.
Michael, I need more.
I know, Karen.
You guys to vote.
Just grabbing it.
Don't start on
Oh, got a hat?
I need two more.
Good.
How you gonna do it online?
Thank you. Thank you.
Tammy, did I give you one?
They can text.
Yes. You can give me another
Who
one.
do we have online?
I need one.
David Hartwell? or-
David Hartwell, too.
Hang on, I'll tell you.
He did send me, he texted me his vote.
Okay, yeah, David Hartwell, he can text him, and they can tell who it is.
Here you go, boss.
Oh, good. So you missed him last night.
I was busy talking to you, that's not.
Oh, he was
Okay,
getting
he's
it.
gonna, Chris Tobin's gonna message you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Everybody got their vote in?
Yes.
Wait until.
Okay. All right, honorary grand marshal, we can talk about those.
We can skip right by, and there were no nominations for honorary grand marshal. You want
Any suggestions for that?
anyone want to nominate down?
Brian?
One of the purposes behind the honorary grand marshal was to find somebody along with the community grand marshal from the community that would create a buzz about the rodeo violence in the community
Where we're having,
where we're having it, like the mayor or, I don't know, somebody that would.
hang on, let's ask David Hartwell then. David, so the honorary grand marshal is someone usually in the committee that, I mean, in the community that helps, with, you know, that it's attached to the WGRF, you know, like sometimes it can be the mayor of the town or someone that's involved in the, you know, gay community a lot or helping with y'all's rodeo, or it'll be, not be part of ours. Can you think of anybody like that?
Okay, Candy, what about Mary
Mary
Arbuckle?
Arbuckle.
Other options?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Mary Arbuckle.
Mary Arbuckle.
Is that Mary Arbuckle's or
Yeah,
somebody
Mary.
else's? That's
So she knows the 2,000 people that are.
That's a great idea, Mary Arbuckle.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, that's great, we answered that. So, Sam, did you hear me? We're gonna do Mary Arbuckle, because she's big in their community and helps out
Okay.
as a nonprofit and stuff.
Okay.
So you got that.
Other options.
It's she runs a
She
business.
runs a company called Other Options.
Other options.
Right.
So the Grand Marshal will be Ron Tressler. Yeah, well. Okay, community hero vote.
Community hero.
So, that too, so we need to stick that with,
Yeah, that's another
so
one.
that's kinda like not, go ahead. Well, I don't think anyone, the two that were sent in aren't from that area, so that's another thing that we might wanna change it up. Right?
Yeah.
So, that better,
I think Mary Arbuckle would be better suited as community hero.
okay.
And then continue to look for a honorary grand marshal that is political or
Supports your gay agenda.
yeah.
Okay, David, did you hear that? So we're thinking about moving Mary to the community hero, and we would rather find someone that maybe is politically connected or has a little, trying to do this, say this right.
Public relations value.
Like a, yeah, public relations value that would, might be a little larger in the political scenes there in Oklahoma City or in the surrounding hills, if you can think about somebody like that.
King,
A gay senator.
gay Republican senator.
Yeah, good luck.
In Oklahoma?
Okay. All right, that's perfect. All right, so we'll move Mary to the community hero, and he's gonna
You
discuss
can't
this.
do that.
Better, we'll revote it.
No, the nominations for Grand Marshal, Honorary Grand Marshal, and Community Hero closed June 24th.
I was gonna ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
the
since
Oh,
no one
okay.
was nominated for Honorary Grand Marshal, that's not a problem. But we do have two nominations that came in prior to. the
That's
closing.
true.
Which is where I was gonna go with
Sorry.
that. We already do have two nominations that were on
Okay.
time, so I think Mary's gonna have to stay where we put her, because we
Okay.
had no one there.
She can still be just as, promotive. Yeah.
And she will be.
Yeah.
I think in the future, it would behoove us to have a discussion about this prior to the deadline, so that everybody kind of thinks it out a little bit better, and we,
I-
Keep in mind, at finals, we have in the past had a community hero that was an organization, like Other Options, because we had the resource center when we did finals at Mesquite in Texas. It was the AIDS Resource Center, and they were our community hero.
Okay.
So I'm just, because I think Brian's correct in kind of what he was sticking
Yeah,
on that,
no,
but
he
this,
was, that's
it's not just a
exactly.
person. So community hero could be a group or an organization.
True.
I do like the political side, though. I like that. I mean, to me, it's nice to have something of stature to say, hey, look who's here that we can market, that you can market.
Oh,
But who are the two? We never heard of them.
Who we haven't got to there yet, because we
Who are the
discussed all
nominees?
this. Okay, so for the community hero, the two nominees are John King and, as a group, Holly and Ed Lumpkin.
Who?
Holly and Ed Lumpkin.
Oh,
Nuggets.
Nuggets.
Parents. Yeah.
I'll speak, if nobody else is gonna speak. I think hands down, it's John King. I mean, he's been a part of rodeo pretty much since its inception. He supports, for years and years, he supported the Chicago Gay Rodeo Association, he supports the Arizona Gay Rodeo Association, he supports, Colorado, Arizona, and Las Vegas. I mean, the thousands and thousands that his businesses give to support us, not only monetary but voluntary, is across every association. Say what you will, but I think if you took all of that away.
So how many times has he already been this? Because he's been grand marshal at our rodeo so many times, he's been grand marshal at this rodeo so many times.
You've been grand marshal at finals.
Yeah, he's been
I
grand
don't think
marshal
he's
at
ever been
finals.
community hero.
Yeah, and so those are things,
And I would love to see
let's
that-
get new people involved in this. That's my opinion.
I put together a spreadsheet and then it got filled out, so we could see who's been
Isn't it?
all of these things. So I took all the information that's on there, put on one spreadsheet so we could all use it, and never got filled out, so I don't know. So, as far as my recollection, he's never been community hero. And I think that when you look again at finals, you have a person that's helped across multiple associations, not just an association.
Could we consider Charlie's?
Oh, here you go. Change it to Charlie's, not him specific.
Charlie's just not.
I love that idea.
Well-
It's the same deal.
Love that idea.
Yeah, we're getting into the same problem though, as there's two nominations already out on time. And now we're trying to add something different.
Well, could you just say John King Charlie's, and that would include like Charlie's with it? So that you could, because if nothing else, he would have all those Charlie's boys there at Finals Rodeo. I mean, he'll probably bring a crew, just to help everyone do it. I don't know. Do it like Charlie's.
I don't see there being anything wrong with that, that's the name, anybody else? Kevin?
I'm ready to say, as we talk about this, if we talk about John.
And it's not changing. So John King Charlie's, John King and Charlie's, you're adding, so you're not changing it, you're adding two. And then you should have submitted that. Well, you don't write anything down.
Forget about me all the time.
It hurt us.
Okay.
Still the young one.
The list you said you had? Where is it? Is it the resource?
It's so hard to find.
Okay. So, other annual awards, media, website, women's outreach. So we're gonna, there's not a committee for the women's outreach, so we're gonna.
That's already been.
Isn't that usually a convention though?
We did?
Isn't that usually a convention, those awards?
Okay.
So, with the rodeos that have happened this year, I had two individuals in mind that were presented to me, and so the committee has recommended that we do Jen Verona. She's been at rodeos and doing all these things, contestants, and different things. The other
Can you speak up, please? We can't hear you.
Jen Verona. And so she's been at rodeos teaching contestants how to rope, how to tie ribbons, things like that, rodeos that she's gone at. I don't have a lot of base of anyone else at this point in time because the other individual that I would like presented it to me.
Is that the women's award thing?
Yeah.
Is that the women's award thing? y'all?
Yeah.
That's a convention though, right?
Yeah, the
Not
chair, the chair of it wasn't, or. Okay.
Because there's been two
Community heroes, John King.
There's been two prominent people that women that are doing things, and
It's a good selection.
I think she's,
You lead.
even when she was, she was. So do we need to vote on your nomination? Or?
Okay.
There's only one.
There's only one person, so.
I move that we accept.
I thought you said two.
By accident.
No, the other one that was, we got it last year, so we kind of null and void.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's what I'm saying.
It's hard to hear you up here.
I'm sorry. They got kind of null and voided because they received it,
Okay.
which was Jen.
So, pork chop made a motion, accept by motion.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, so we don't really have an IT chair anymore for the media website. Do you have any suggestions, Frank?
You talk about the website award. I will be starting to go around to the websites and judging them over the next month.
When do we need to get the
The bylaws require that the nominations be done no later than the third quarter Board of Trustees meeting.
Which is this one.
Yes. And that was communicated to all of the committee chairs and the board members a couple of times in the last couple of months.
I never saw anything like that.
Well, it went to the committee chairs that are responsible for these by the bylaws. And so I made a point to say nominations for our annual awards has to be done by the third quarter.
Okay. The reason that I've always done it, usually I did it in August, is because the rodeos which occurred later in the year, they hadn't gotten their websites done. So I didn't want to judge a site where the rodeo was 6 months away and didn't have anything. We discussed this the last time that we went through this particular issue, and it was agreed that would work.
Well, the bylaws stipulate that the committee chair submits recommendations to the board for the website, the media, the women's outreach, and so forth.
Okay, it's your problem, it's now your problem. I've washed my hands of it.
It's not my problem.
We
It's
just
your
don't have
problem
a
to
chair
find somebody
position,
to
right?
do the job.
It's simple for Brett.
So we don't, the thing is, we don't have a chair, so we're asking your opinion of what you
Well, I gave
think.
you my opinion 4
Okay.
years ago, and I'm giving it to you again.
Okay.
If you want me to do it, it's gonna be done in July or August.
Nominate all of them. and figure
Let's
out what-
go and do this. Everybody bring up your own websites and everybody look at them.
There you go.
Bring up your website and let everybody look at them, and that's the easiest way of doing it.
That's not a valid way of calculating how good the website is.
Well, I think various people have different reasons on how they're going to value it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now,
Our
keep in
website's not
mind,
marked, you won't be able to see it.
now,
And that's what we need to do. We need to look at what's there.
Ryan has a.
Okay, sorry, Brian.
Can we nominate all of the associations?
That's what I was going to say.
And then ask Frank to review the nominations and give us a decision
I think
by
that's good.
July.
Oh, but we have to vote about this. Right?
We have to vote on
We have
it.
to vote on it.
We'd be voting on all of the,
I think this
So
is-
whatever
this
one
is
you
like
pick,
a-
it would be-
The nominations are due now.
yeah.
So if you nominate them all, then you consider them and then whittle it down. That's it's just what kind of.
Now, keep in mind, the process that was communicated out is that the nominations have to be done by this meeting. After this meeting, then ballots will be prepared for each of the categories.
Oh,
and
then
say,
there you go.
These are the recommended people.
There's roots.
Vote your people, your selection.
Go ahead.
I make a nomination that we vote everybody's website into.
It's not the way it works.
Nominations,
Hang on.
The purpose of the website award is to encourage associations to produce a good website that communicates and informs the public of what we're doing.
Yes, sir?
That's the purpose of it.
Yeah.
Since I started doing this, I have a very detailed set of guidelines that I go through, and I judge each one of those guidelines as to.
Frank, do you understand what we're doing? We're giving you time to review.
We're giving you
I
time.
have no idea what you're doing because you just told me it had to be done today.
No,
No.
we're fixing that problem. We're nominating all of them, but we're not gonna vote on them until after you give your opinion.
That doesn't make sense.
Sure
It,
does.
it does per the bylaws, because of the way they're written, you have to do some action at this point.
We haven't for the last 4 times that this has been done.
We're trying to straighten ourselves out.
Yes, we're trying to get ourselves up.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You have a
We had a
nomination?
second, we had a second by David Hill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Abstentions? All right, Frank, now you have your time to fill.
Okay. We need to address that in bylaws.
Yes, sir.
And I agree.
Okay. Okay, so Mark, are you okay if this, after Benjamin replied to you, this would be, really go to convention?
Yes, ma'am.
You okay with us not taking the time now? Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Yes.
That's all convention is?
Yes. It's all
Perfect.
convention.
All right. What's your conference call process?
A couple of people, board members have said, we need to figure out how we're going to do our conference calls for up until this year. We've always just used free conference call, dial-in number, and we held our meetings and so forth. This year, with COVID and so forth, we introduced Zoom. Candy manages the Zoom. She got the Zoom account. The Zoom account allows us to see each other in the calls and so forth. And so some people, it's like, well, we need a Zoom call. I'm like, I can't do a Zoom call. That's, I don't have I don't have the capability because I don't own the Zoom account that's being used for when we do Zoom calls in IGRA. And so someone says, well, we need to move away from free conference call to Zoom. There is a cost with Zoom. I think it's an annual. How much is it?
It's monthly payment.
How much is Zoom? Except for free calls.
It's $19 a month.
Mine's a little more than that, but.
Well, I say it can vary depending on what your
Yeah.
levels of what you
Yeah, it's
want.
about 25 or 30.
Ours is 200 people, $19.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, we need to, put a stake in the ground, and do we want to do Zoom going forward permanently, or what? And so I just put it on there for people to say, it's been nice to be able to, someone said, hey, we need to have a group conference call, here's, that cost you anything, here's a passcode, knock yourself out. Zoom has its benefits, so do we want to keep it as is and do either, or move to Zoom, or what?
Okay, so I like them both, and I like having both those options. One, I think the call-in number is so much easier, and there's less technological problems with it. Everyone can get right in every time.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now the nice thing about Zoom is, if a document didn't get sent out or something, boom, that person can show it up on the screen, and everyone can see the document that's being talked about.
And we do have the ability to share in free conference call. Takes a little bit more work, and you do have to have an agent on your laptop to do the free call to see documents, but that is possible.
Okay.
I'm fine keeping it, having both for now, because this is not something that's life and death.
I think when we do a quick vote or anything like that, it takes a long time to get everyone together on Zoom. I think conference call, you start the meeting and you go in and you're done in 5 minutes if we need to be done in 5 minutes.
How much is our big conference?
Free conference is free, no cost.
Keep it. I don't make a motion that we do both.
Fine.
I think it fits for,
Well, isn't it
what the
free
meeting.
too if it's only 20 people?
But you only have
You can't-
45
yeah, you
minutes.
can't-
It's
time.
And you only
It's
have,
time.
it's got a time. limit.
Oh, 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's the reason I think.
People are going to do anything in 40 minutes.
My motor leader is true.
Can we excuse you 5 just for, we'll come back, we'll get you in just a minute.
She dismissed it.
I just dismissed you for 5 minutes.
Get out.
Get out.
You gotta go, you gotta
She was nice about it.
Here, you gotta go to the corner for a minute.
Yes. I've been in the corner my whole life.
Okay, I was asked to, remove them for a minute. Okay, the next one's appreciation award recipients.
That, they don't need to be added, okay. The appreciation awards are from the associations to recognize two organizations or people that are not members of your organization today for an appreciation award. There's no vote. You simply say, these are two people, you submit their names, we award plaques. If I see there's a member name, I've reached out to the organization and said, and in the last couple of years, every year, people nominate some members of their organization, and I call and we have that difficult conversation, and they're like, damn it, we said, we need to fix that at convention. I was like, yes, we do. So, trustees awards, that is voted on by the trustees. We have five nominees for the trustee award. The nominations for trustee award and international closed on the 24th of June. So for trustees award, the nominees are Jerry Cunningham, Nick Villanueva, Ryan Villanueva, Greg Begay, and Jamie Light. There are no other nominees for trustees award. So
How many awards?
five.
So we have five.
So we have five people. Now we get to the international awards, and this is why we had to have a group of people leave the room. And I think we want to keep this list of names in this room, please.
Broadcasting.
Oh, yeah, we need to stop broadcasting.
You just,
Okay, I just turned it off.
Okay,
Oh, wait.
so our nominations.
Hold on.
back live.
Okay,
So on the appreciation awards, I need your recipients for your appreciation awards so I can put those all in when we're doing these other awards by the Friday, September 23rd or 24th.
It is not limited to 2, but you can pay for any more than 2.
Right.
okay.
What's the fee for that?
It's generally $25-30 typically.
Associations, of course.
Any other new business?
Just-
We've met, missed?
Association.
And we'll go to announcements for,
It says we recess for 5 minutes.
well, then it goes into the trustee meeting, but we, I know it's pulled out, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go through this.
Motion to, well, what did the adjourn, was there anything else? What is,
Adjournments after.
okay, we'll do it, okay. Jack, you're on.
Well, first off, thank you for everybody traveling to Denver and talking about this board meeting, CGRAs. We have quite rodeo planned this weekend, as our president alluded to at the beginning. We have a lot of new folks that are learning and growing and taking this experience. It's very exciting that people are wanting to get involved. Hope you enjoy it. For those of you that haven't heard, for a grand entry, we actually have skydivers coming in. The first skydiver will have an 800 square foot US flag. The second one, 700 square foot Colorado flag. And then we have 2 more followed by Great Pride Smoke. So it's going to be really exciting. You can see the stage being set up. We have a community tent. Just really excited to have you guys here. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you for being here. That's it.
Okay.
And at 7 o'clock on that.
7
Dinner.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we said that earlier, but just a reminder, at 7 o'clock, there's a dinner that CGRA is providing for all the contestants, all the officials, all the volunteers. So that, we actually stole that idea from Arizona because it was so well received, so gracious, thank you again to Metal Mark for sponsoring that. So we've had amazing sponsorship this year from our community. Pretty much, I think, every bar in Denver was a sponsor in some form or fashion. And so it's really nice to see our community come together.
Okay, Tim?
Well, thank you CGRA for hosting the board meeting and the fabulous lunch. Greatly appreciate that, even though I was late. Thank you
It's
very
called grand
much.
entry.
Right.
Alright, there's just right here. Mark?
Again, thank you CGRA for wonderful lunch, and thanks for having us here. And thank you for approving our rodeo for 2023. We're already starting on it. We're going back with our same directors and everything, so I want to be one of the directors again. So it's going to be fun, and we welcome you back to Phoenix.
I would like to acknowledge your fantastic community checks that went out. That was fantastic.
It made us all cry. I mean, that made us cry because it was something that we've never, ever in the history of AGRA been able to even think about doing. Our highest has been $33,000 giving out. And when we went into our meeting and we saw what we had, we all just went, wow. That's all we could say was just wow. And it was well deserved. We had folks crying up on stage. If you saw our live video, they were actually crying because they never thought that a rodeo association would give them $11,000 in a check. And we couldn't do it without you all. that's the whole thing about it, is we couldn't do it without everyone y'all in here.
Trying to raise the volume on this. David Hartwell, you got an announcement? All right, thank you, David. They said they're looking forward to seeing everybody next month in their air-conditioned arena.
Oh.
Yes.
Looking for, Brian?
Well, thanks for the great lunch, I appreciate it, and looking forward to dinner tonight. You know, New Mexico's having their 30th anniversary rodeo in August, and we hope that you can come out and join us to get the rodeo assembly again. And we also have kind of taken on, got a new group of younger folks that are taking on a little bit more responsibility, so please come support.
Okay. Is Chris Tobin still on? There's Chris? Talk loud. All right, thanks, Chris. All right, thanks CGRA for hosting the meeting. They're gonna have some added prize money. I look forward to seeing everybody. They have a party tonight. Diamond State.
Thank you,
Oh, that's Kenneth. Kenneth, I'm not there yet. He's way down here. Is he
You
here?
ready? And then,
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
He was
Oh,
earlier.
there you are. Kenneth, are you still there?
Yes,
Did you wanna, you got an announcement? All right, thanks, Kenneth. Sorry I skipped you. All right, now,
all right,
press.
thank
John.
you, Jared, for Nino and everyone walking us. I want to thank all the people that are jumping in at the rodeos, that doing blue, doing the arena crew, contestants. It's really great. It was great in Little Rock. They stepped up, and in Missouri, it was just wonderful. Everybody just did everything. We helped each other. And remember, the rodeo school was small, but they said they only had 5 people, but there was actually, by the pictures, when I went back, there was 20 people. We couldn't use the arena, so we used the grass area and had a blast, and the people really got to learn. And then Justin got them on a horse to learn how to get off for bull and steer riding on the grass. Very good rodeo school. Thank you. And we raised $10,000 for our charity in Little Rock, being a little rodeo. We were very proud of that $10,000.
Wow.
Thank
Going to you, Chuck.
Me? No answer.
Is she awake over there? Give her a couple.
This Chuck.
No answer.
Huh? It's not on.
Thank you for the lunch, girl. See everybody in Vegas. September 16th.
Okay. Sam?
Thank you guys, Colorado, and everyone's putting on a rodeo this year. It's kind of nice to feel like we're back into the normal process of things. And to add to what Wes was talking about, the contestants that have been jumping in and helping has just been amazing. So and you know, we got to Missouri, and they're understaffed, and it's an undersized rodeo, and people made efforts to get there just to support the rodeo, and then furthermore, they jump in the arena and start measuring poles and doing everything else. So that's a big deal. Just thank you all that have done that.
I just want to say, in all the years, in all 39 years you guys have put on the rodeo, being a government employee, this is the first time I've ever been able to get off routine on rodeo.
Yeah.
I don't have enough seniority, but I'm excited to be here, and just, I don't know, just kind of made me a little emotional. Also, I'm retiring September 2nd, so I can do whatever I want.
Just in
Be
time.
able to come to Warrior Rodeos and be involved. We are going to be holding our 2023 royalty pageant August 6th in Salt Lake. We'd love any of you to come. We'd like to come and join us and be involved. It's going to be the first official pageant we've had as this new organization. All our royalty has been appointed up to this point. Also, we have a great time at our Pride this year because we were able to talk about our rodeo. We found a lot of interest in Salt Lake. And one of the neatest things we found was the sponsorship of people from businesses at the celebration coming out and wanting to support our rodeo. And hopefully by November, we can give you a little bit of a lineup of what we have planned and a convention and what's going on. And we're just excited to be here. Also, if anybody sees 2 straw hats on the way from down here from Utah, I left my tailgate open and they kind of flew away on me this one coming down. So that's why I need to know where boot barn was.
Just a suggestion, when you get ready to start selling your buckles for your rodeo, I'd send out an email to all of us to see if we can help get your buckle sponsored. It's tough getting those buckles all sponsored.
I'd like to remind everybody that if you've got rodeos coming up next year, make sure that you get me the information about the dates and stuff like that. Because if somebody doesn't tell me, it doesn't go on a calendar. And the IGRA calendar page is generally the only place on the internet where people can get reliable information on what rodeos are coming up.
We'd like to thank CGRA for sponsoring the board meeting, great lunch and hospitality. A horse-friendly event, we love the fact that you use the horse stalls. CGRA does apologize for the difficult decision we made regarding to postponing the rodeo. Unfortunately, our 2 largest sponsors did back out, and we had to make a very difficult decision. We do express our gratitude to the officials that committed to us and for supporting our rodeo. And we're working hard to find sponsorship to get us back in the dirt for 2023. So that's all I'll say.
That sucks.
Since we're at the end, for the 2023 rodeos, your rodeo applications have to be in for the 4th quarter board meeting because they have to be reviewed and approved at the 4th quarter board meeting. We do Phoenix's early because their rodeo is in February, but so those that are planning to do rodeos in 2023, if you haven't already submitted your rodeo applications, we need those dates in those application forms by the board meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 5-minute break and then
Who said
go
nay?
into the trustee,
That was the second on the adjournment.
Westfield.
You're fine. I'm not playing.
Try to make this.
You have trustees. You have trustees.
Unplug me. Unplug me. It's full. It's full. Unplug me.
Okay, I see.
Suffer.
Half a cigarette.
We'll start at 1:40. We'll start the meeting at 1:40.
Setting up all the grounds.
Oh, wait a minute.
Colorado.
Wait a minute. That would be too bad.
Well, those
No
are,
wonder he left them at home.
we can go buy those.
No wonder he left them at home.
Don't need to make those.
You
That's
didn't want to share those.
That's
We can only Colorado brownies are working.
Make sure she, make
I don't know if I've ever seen David this funny story about the brownies. Back when y'all were out there, little arena, out,
I'm pretty sure.
Cold Creek.
it's just right up here.
Okay, okay, all right.
I thought you made
There's
picture
a
of
Cold
you
Creek.
guys.
Yeah, back when Justin had that boyfriend.
Yeah, that's being back the 20th of August. I believe.
Or Eric or.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it should be-
believe.
Something like that.
It should be in the air of July.
Okay.
Okay.
He was, it was before he was last year. Well, in y'all's concession stand, y'all had these big old grills, they were big and they were wonderful, right? Currents, that was the new current. Anyway, he made, they're wonderful, right? And she was like, at the end of the rodeo, Sweet and Andy and Justin, they were all over there. And they had like a nice Kurt said, we left it right there. And they were all kind of like.
How are you, sir?
While I'm at the concession stand, and I'm walking across this road like that. You should see me, I look like the coyote running around, those guys changing.
Six, body boards.
Enjoy that.
Okay, I won't be here until after. Okay, I'll leave you. Thank you so much. I will. Thank you too. Hey, are you Bob? Okay, so you know the rodeo. If you were to come out where a gravel kind of haircut, why do you drink? Hey. All right, talk to you later. All right, bye.
Confusion was the city.
Oh, okay.
I know, it's like.
Oh, it's
Are you, so you're fully retired?
There occurs,
You're fully retired?
always a lowercase going city.
Okay.
That fixed. If say reset.
So there's some posting.
Association.
Okay. I know it's just.
That's a tough time.
They have to try to get ladies in office.
6 months.
Everything is more complicated.
Next time you see.
So that should take care of those two issues. He may not be pages of responsibility.
Trustees meeting.
Something like that.
list of restrictions. You told me it was there trying to answer his questions. And everything that came out of the
Michael, don't you send updates?
You're what?
Do you send updates to Frank?
Oh, no.
Telling you to never degrade IGRA on any subject. And this is before I was saying, this is before you come back.
Okay, let's start the trustee meeting. Bring it to order.
Right? Yeah. My sneaker caught one of the little tiny cracks between the
Yes.
I won't gas ladder.
Okay, the meeting is brought to order. The first thing on the agenda, I just got the documents, by the way, on these things, is new student judge request, and it is, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but the documents were sent to the chair.
Yeah, I'm
a
saying,
long time ago. You just got them.
I'm saying, I just received them, and it's Brian Helander who wants to try for the judging program.
Do I need to leave the room?
I wouldn't.
So, did you say so you can all talk about me? You did, didn't you?
Why did I make a vote?
Yeah, just carry on. Heard it all before, carry on.
I took roll, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You want,
Is there anyone on call? Oh, David's still there. Okay, David.
Ken's still there.
Okay.
Ken and Chris and David, they started the trustee meeting. I've got the volume still on for you. Okay.
You got a quorum.
got a quorum, thank you. Okay, so that's our first order of business. So if there's any discussion, thoughts, or anything else, Brian applying for rookie judge?
Student judge.
Student judge, I'm sorry. Student judge. Brian, do you have anything you want to say on it?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sort of planning my, next few years. I think it's something I'd like to contribute.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, then
Is there a motion?
What's that?
Was there a motion?
No, that's what I'm asking, if there's a motion. This being presented is a motion?
That's
Oh,
the
okay.
motion. You have to have a second.
Okay, do we have a second?
Sure.
Wes, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Abstentions? So the motion passes. So
Put
that,
that down.
I got one neighbor.
got one nay.
Congratulations.
I'll send my condolence card in the mail.
I was going to
That's
say,
probably more appropriate.
everybody gets,
Okay, our next item is, Gene has requested that we revisit the drag rule and its interpretations. Now, from Gene's standpoint, he talked to me extensively on the phone the other day. He looks at the main thing that his point that he's trying to get across is he wants it so every judge would feel comfortable that the rule is very clear to him, to that particular, or that particular judge. He also made a comment that technically the trustees had changed the rule, which they couldn't do because supposedly that, or it can only happen in a convention, by when we added the word two-piece. One or two-piece. So we added those words. Now we can
We did
roll.
not add anything, we interpreted it as.
Okay.
It was not changed to the rules.
Okay, I am relaying the conversation.
That's all I'm just clarifying.
Okay.
We're revisiting.
So, the discussion on that, do we want to get very detailed on this? How do we want to handle it? Good.
My thing is, since you've already made the interpretation, you've gone through rodeos, it's already been posted, what you posted already, wouldn't you need to take this to convention and address this at this point? I mean, I don't know the answer to the question, it's more of a question is what I'm asking, guys, I don't know.
But
No,
that's
because
the
it's been
same,
interpreted.
It's
same thing
right.
I'm gonna say, y'all spent an hour and a half and y'all did an interpretation.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of this year needs to be the same, and then at convention, do what you need to do, but I don't think that a lot of time needs to go back on this again when y'all spent an hour and a half and did this in February.
That's why I'm saying you've already interpreted
Right.
it, and that's already been posted at rodeos.
Mr. Chair, maybe you could ask us if anybody cared to revisit the interpretation, and we can just move on.
Well, we can probably do that if everyone's
Is there
done
an
discussing it. Because we don't have to put this to a vote. If there's no other discussion, there's no other discussion. We can go to the next agenda.
That's it.
Go on.
There you go.
You had a phone call.
Okay, so then, on that, is there any other new business anyone would like to bring up for trustees?
Was there a vote on the?
No.
Well,
There was no motion, it was a discussion, and that was it.
okay, so it's, no, okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not like awesome.
Okay, hold up, Jack, once.
What, I have a question. Didn't we have 2 interpretations?
In Phoenix, we put the comma.
No, not about Wild Drag. Wild Drag's dead to me. Wild Drag was one of them, but there was a second item we talked about. And that was the boot thing, the footwear. The footwear.
Yes.
Do you have the minutes from Phoenix?
That was Vegas.
We started in Phoenix.
Santa Fe.
That one started in the next one. It didn't start in Phoenix because we didn't have that in Phoenix.
I know you didn't have it in Phoenix, it was from the prior year, so it was in Vegas,
From
we
the
talked
back.
about it.
Are you talking about something that was supposed to have been posted that didn't get posted? I think, is that what you're referring
Yes.
to?
Yes,
And
and
then
I
we
just
wrote-
want to refresh my memory too, what that discussion was.
I don't remember what it was.
It was about the boot, the footwear and the boot.
Wasn't that
Yeah.
Nevada?
Huh? What's
That was in Nevada.
That was
Well,
Las Vegas.
It happened there, but
No,
it was
we-
discussed, I
we
know, but it was
discussed it
discussed in Phoenix, we discussed it at the board meeting.
Oh, at the board meeting.
Yeah,
At the rodeo.
I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, I should have clarified.
Yeah.
Not at the rodeo, at the
Oh.
board meeting in
Oh.
Phoenix, we talked about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't, okay, I'll have to go back and read, but nothing comes to memory.
That was
We
because-
clarified that it has to be a boot, not anything else.
Yes,
Not a cast, not a walking boot, that,
because that becomes a safety issue.
yes, and that, you're exactly right. And that if
Yes.
someone wanted that changed,
Correct.
just like Adam did with the wheelchair, they have to take it to the convention. So I just wanna make sure that we're all on the same page.
You are 100% correct.
Okay, thank you very much for the confirmation.
Okay.
So that was February of this year, right, in Phoenix, the board meeting in Phoenix?
Yes, sir. I'm sure you have very explicit notes.
My all time, I don't remember, it was, only they didn't have.
Okay, with that, is there any other new business from any trustee?
Pre-rodeo review.
Pre-rodeo review will happen right after this meeting. Okay, we'll have to adjourn this meeting first, and then we can roll into that. So, do we have a,
And everybody got their badges, except for, I think there's 3 people.
I got a different
Yeah,
photo?
you got a
No.
workshop. So we'll get you yours. You'll have one anyways, but
I get a different.
I was gonna say,
a different picture.
I get multiples.
someone like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? Mark, second by Jack. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Abstentions, meeting is adjourned. Stay here, this new meeting starts right now.
All right, meeting adjourned, guys.
We adjourned at 12:49.
Bye.
1 point.
I'm sorry, I'm in Arizona still.
Yeah.
You're right.
Looks like you're gone.
Before we start, are you gonna go straight into assignments for trustee?
That's pretty much what we do.